That hurt.
Then what is this thing?
Gio should never play for U.S. men's national team again because of the action of his parents.
What an idiot! Oh!
What type of Muppet does this?
Muppets. Absolute Muppets.
I'm not going to be the best person to give a whole explanation here, but that's...
Booty! Sick! Booty!
Fucking deal with it. What are we really doing?
Yeah, I can agree with that. A zebra in between a tarantula and an elephant.
Has been nothing more than a sham.
Yeah, we didn't play well, but you know what? At the end of the day, we got the job done.
It's going to be a good time for sure.
Oh, sex with the first cousin would indeed be incest. And
welcome to the Straight Red Card, the only show where your stepsister is welcome, she's embraced, she's loved, long into the night. And that's what we provide here.
Oh, that was for the night. That's what
we're truly. This is a world-class podcast. That's what this
I am
is.
currently in the champagne room. Hey-o.
Yeah, that's a pretty fancy shit you got going on there. Nice rug. Kind of reminds me of the Mexico kits of last night.
Yeah, pretty much, doesn't it? It looks just like it, actually.
Look at this. Yeah, it's a little reminiscent of their uniforms. Yeah, it is. But you didn't do that on purpose.
Kind of resembles it.
Yeah. Did you see the interview with the Mexican coach?
No.
Jamie?
I didn't click on it.
Lozano?
I assumed it was it in English or Spanish?
No, TJ. So there's TJ Sports Spanish and there's TJ Sports English or USA. You got to go to USA because the one in obviously Spanish is in Spanish. The one in TJ Sports USA is translated. Basically, he just said, "Yeah, they're better than us in like every single way. All their players play in Europe on really top teams. Our players don't. What do you want from me?"
Yeah, well, that was one of the talking points in the Berhalter presser as well. One of the Spanish speaking journalists asked that question, basically saying, "Hey, do you think the reason why the U.S. currently is on a run of being better than the Mexican national team is because most of their players are playing in Europe and not like in MLS?" And then Berhalter had his line, like 3/4 of the teams started in MLS and then worked their way up. We want them to continue to push themselves, etc. But yeah, that's definitely a talking point.
But they always end with, "But in the end of the day, doesn't really matter where you play as long as you're playing at a high level." Okay, well, it's kind of harder to tell if you're playing at a high level if you're playing against Austin FC rather than, let's say, you're playing against AC Milan or you're playing against Inter Milan. That's easier to tell.
And what's Mexico complaining about? Hell, half of the U.S. Punditry were out there talking about how Vasquez is playing at a very high level compared to even championships. So clearly, playing in the Liga MX is equivalent. So
I'm sorry, Liga MX.
Why even go to Europe at that point?
Liga MX and the Mexican national team are both at what I would call the lowest point they've ever been at. Honestly. Because think about it, Zendejas was not so far this season, but I mean throughout much of last season, certainly was one of the best players on Club America, and he can't even make our national team. Okay, What does that tell you? All right. Also, I do have to say this about the Spanish-speaking press throughout this whole weekend and leading into the weekend. They asked some of the dumbest questions I have ever heard of the players. Like, especially in the individual interviews they did with the players, they would ask, like, McKennie and Adams, how does it feel to be playing for your national team?
Kind of give a German accent to that, almost.
No, I don't want to mock them too much. You know, don't ask people. Of course they're going to say they're jizzing in their pants to play for the U.S. national team. They're, of course, going to be excited. I'm really happy to be here. This is my family. These are my brothers. I love playing for my country. Ask a real question that we don't already know the answer to. How about that? And that goes for the American press and media too, who we pick on a regular basis here. Ask a question we don't already know the answer to. or ask one that we do know the answer to, but they're not willing to answer. Put them in a little bit of a pickle. Now, I get it. You will get kicked out. You'll get kicked out. You won't be able to ask your questions anymore. So I get it. Yes. But can we at least all then get together and admit that that is true? Because there are still media people out there that refuse to say that's true. And it's ridiculous. They're lying. Either they're lying to protect the status quo, which is likely, or they're on their side. Like they're basically Berhalter lackeys. Their breath stinks of Gregg's testicles. Seriously. All right, the turd in the back. I'm already on a rant.
Already?
Like, what the hell's going on here?
Let's let you rule.
Yeah. Okay. The turn in the background says, "Welcome back to the straight red card. We are the champions. We are the champions, my friends. My wife's constant cheating never ends. What a game for our boys. Great goals from Adams and that little punk I got on TV." You were on TV?
Twice. Yeah, the turn got on the twice.
Oh, yeah, you were.
Like, oh, did you miss the turn? I'm like, yeah, I missed him. And then I went back and rewatched the second one when he hugged Gregg at the end of the game.
Yeah, I've never seen Michael Cameraman so hard as a rock. I mean, he was excited.
Something else to add to the fluff before the show starts.
Oh, Michael, I'm sure you're a swell guy. Although, did you hear when we brought up, I'm sure I said to Jimmy, but I'm sure he's a swell guy. And Jimmy's like, nah, dude, that dude's ruthless. There's no way he keeps that job as long as he has, unless that dude is straight up ruthless.
I thought he said the turd was a nice guy. But he's good at his job. He said he's good at his job, but he was nice. No, he never used the word nice. That was a prior guest. That was Meg, I think, who said he was nice. And that was off air. That was off air, by the way. Well, you're spoiling that. What? Well, I guess calling him a nice guy is not really something that's spoil. You can say that's spoil worthy. Well, I'm sure she would say that publicly. I'm not exposing anything. I mean, I loved hanging out with Meg, by the way, after the show. That was a lot of fun because, listen, folks, we do her internet connection oddly worked after the show ended. Right. We say about 90% of what we can here on this show, but there's 10% we can't tell you because it would reveal our connections. It would reveal our leads. It would reveal who's giving us information. So we can't tell you that, right? But we can talk to our guests after the show about that kind of stuff. And it's fun because it turns out we know a lot of the same people. We have a lot of the same connections. And we know in the industry who's honest, who's willing to tell you the truth, and who's not. And they're out there, and we're not going to expose them. Why would we do that? That would be stupid, mean, and we would lose all our insider information that we get, right? What would be the point of that? But I am just so happy that people come to Peat, come to Tact, and come to us and share stuff behind scenes and trust us that we're not going to leak and tell that, leak them out or call them out. That is the coolest thing. Mm-hmm. And it's getting more prominent by the day as all our shows get bigger. Gregg Berhalter watches our show. We know this. I don't think he does. I've never heard that. I know U.S. soccer people watch our show. They monitor our show, I should say. Monitor it. All right. Pedro, I know we only have 3,200, which is basically every U.S. fan in the stadium last night, right? That's about how many were there, about 3,000. So that's 3 battalions, which is a brigade. So we got a brigade worth of what I would call very loyal fans. They see that as just as dangerous as somebody who has 50,000, 50K, let's say like Sam, but is not egregious in their eyes, right? They don't consider Sam. Yeah, we're dangerous because we're cultural setters. We set trends. Everybody knows about the turn in the background. Everybody knows about tight shirt Twelman. Yep. I mean, kicking the dog, that got around so much that nobody knew where it actually came from. They're like, "Oh, you're honestly kick the dog." Yeah, but that's because you guys spread it. Thank you out there for. I don't know if I should thank you for spreading that or not. All right, Pedro Jr. But you guys keep up what you're doing out there. Keep up what you're doing because that's making a difference too. It really is.
Believe it or not, it really is, because Berhalter knew how important yesterday's game was. Trust me, behind the scenes, they know at US Soccer what's really going on their Twitter or X, and the conversations that people are having about the way Gregg manages. So just so happens he needed that win really badly. Pedro Jr., what the hell is that sex with your first cousin clip? Well, if you're new here, Pedro, we do counseling here for folks who, one guy in particular, who was having a relationship with his stepsister and his family was shaming him. And we said, there's no reason. She is not related to you. So it's not incest. So don't let them shame you. You're not related. You met when you were in your teens. You fell in love. It's no big deal. Just because your mom and her mom and your dad are married, but you're not blood related in any way. First cousin, however, we have to be very clear. We do not endorse incest. It creates Charles II, right? Look up Charles II, Spanish king, the last Spanish king, because he was so screwed up because of incestual relationships in the Habsburg dynasty that he was born with a shriveled dick. And so he was the last of the Habsburg kings in Spain. Joey, Matt Miazga sues Derek and Brett for spreading the talk. We didn't spread it. We did not spread it. It was an offhand.
Yeah, and we've always said allegedly anyways.
Allegedly
kicked the dog.
It all came when we're like, why didn't Matt Miazga make the team one time? And I said something like, he must have kicked Berhalter's dog. And that was it. And that's where it came from. So I don't know other than that. I think somebody clipped it or something. Okay. We are 12 minutes in. We're going to kick off the show. By the way, we had a lot of fun doing those live things. So if you want us to keep doing them, we'll keep doing them. And I realized that, we're getting like 15% of what Dak gets on his, but that's okay. So what the hell is this?
So I mentioned this in the pre-show, Derek. I came across this. This is a Japanese commercial, and the title is "Japanese Make the Best Commercials."
Huh.
And I'll tell you one thing: when it comes to American commercials, they used to be good. Now they all suck. Yeah, they try to be funny, but they fail miserably at it.
They're very bad. Yes.
So I'm gonna skip through this. We're not gonna watch a full minute and a half, but I will see if you can figure out what this commercial is even for. Okay.
Although our American commercials have better music. Some of them do. Not all of them. Because, the fact that, for instance, Velvet Underground is being used by Expedia right now. That song, I'll be your mirror. It's a very nice song. Beautiful song sung by Nico. I probably would, Lou Reed's turning over in his grave. Yeah. But great song. Just amazing song. I never thought I'd hear a Velvet Underground song used on a commercial. Anyhow, one of the greatest bands of all time. All right, go ahead, Brett.
All right, Japanese commercial. You guys can play in the chat. Figure out what this is for, okay?
Oh! What the hell is going on? Is this training for the army?
It may be. I mean, they kind of have like military garb to them, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Chris Scary says it's an ad for KY.
It's Navy. It's their version of Navy SEALs.
Irritable bowel syndrome. Let's see here. Let's see. We got condoms.
So fire so far. Bird poop and fire. Okay. So that's what they've gone through so far.
All right. Somebody in the chat did get it. We'll. I don't want to do. I'll pull you up when we actually get to that point. Sorry,
so we're going through all the seasons here. They're exposed. Fall asleep and you're gonna die. Okay, now a storm. What the hell? It's got to be Army. It's got to be the Japanese Army recruiting video.
See, Nothing says, "Hey, join the military" like this commercial, right?
I mean, if you can live through this, you can live through. You can be in our army. I don't know what this is yet.
All right. Well, I lied. We're actually going to do the full minute and 30.
続くんだろうな。
When is this all gonna end?
さあな。泣いてんのか
You cry?
別に。自信だ
What the hell is this? Oh my God, I have no clue what this is.
Let me go back. Who had it first? There you go.
Roof, Angry Panda commercials are the best. No shit. Standing strong together.
Syria, roofing tiles.
Jesus Christ. So they were basically all individual.
They're all individual tiles, and they're holding, like, "Hey, don't fly off,"
That's some serious metaphoric genius.
I mean, I kind of want to buy a new roof now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I don't want those guys screaming on top of my roof.
But hey, they held on through fire, storms. I mean, that's a heavy duty roof right there.
So your house is on fire, but your roof's okay? I guess, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was really good. Best commercial.
Oh man. I feel bad for my roof.
Don't worry, your roof is an inanimate object. You're okay. Poop. I love the bird poop thing. That was awesome. Bird poop.
Oh, come on. S27, man. Commercial was mid. That wasn't.
Man, S27 is the kind of guy that doesn't. I don't think he drinks either, right?
No, he doesn't like the taste of. He doesn't like the taste of alcohol. No, that's anonymous. That's anonymous. Sorry, it's not. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So, but
he's mixing you up.
Man, he must have a real hard time getting.
Hey, you know what?
Hard on.
Not all commercials are meant for each other. There's a number of Super Bowl commercials that people are like, "Oh, that was a great commercial." I'm watching and going like, "What?" That
was truly fun to watch. S27, come on, man.
I mean, it was building it up, and man, you're like, "Oh, what is this? This is some kind of a movie. It's like the next Human Centipede, but not."
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what the hell they were selling. But you know what? Once the end of the commercial comes, it's not going to be a commercial you forget, right? People are going to talk about that at the water cooler. So if that's a thing in Japan, I don't know. Don't know if water cooler talk is a thing in Japan. But, All right. Not an expert on anything except for their dislike of people who aren't 100% Japanese. I'm getting cooked. Don't worry about it.
On that commercial.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's 27. We still love you, man. All right.
But he says, "Hey, but not getting as cooked as Jesse from last night."
Who got? Yeah, because did anybody call Jesse out last night?
I don't know. Jesse had a couple moments in there where you're like, "Yeah, that makes sense." Why was Reyna playing so far back?
Oh, you don't want to get into that yet? Because
we got the presser to talk about that.
I know why.
We got a presser.
Although in the presser, Greg wouldn't say why.
It was instructions, Derek.
Mm-hmm.
He instructed.
That's what I said last night. He was told to do it.
Yep.
He's not just doing that for shits and giggles and because he wants to. And by the way, to give Greg credit, it's not a stupid move. I know everybody's like, well, have McKenny do that and push Reyna up. Okay, I'm all for that too. But in this situation, I'm going to tell you why they did it once we get to that topic in the show.
Apparently, Clint called him out.
What did Clint say? I went back and it cut off the ending.
That's you crazy motherfucker. Yeah.
No, I went back and rewatched the game, and they cut off the beginning and the end. So all you get's the game. You don't get the. And since we were going live during that, we missed the banter between. And I'm glad that Dempsey called him out. I wish I would have heard it. Wish somebody would clip it and put it up. Because Jesse,
hey guys, if you can, go ahead and clip that and post and tag us.
Yeah.
Justin says that I did a good impression
of
Glenn Dempsey.
Oh, okay.
That's he. What the fuck you talking about? Motherfucker.
Yeah, you do kind of have his voice a little bit.
I mean, I've been practicing.
My impressions used to
2
be
hours,
good.
2 hours a day for the last 3 years.
My impressions used to be good. Now the only impression I can do is the goat, the talking goat.
Everything turns into it, doesn't it?
It does. I don't know what happened to me. I used to do a really good Howard Cosell too. All right, what else you got, Brett?
We have. Well, our senior team wasn't the only team out there kicking butt this week.
Well, okay. What team are you covering here? Oh, the U19s.
Well, we talked about the U19s yesterday during the show, and you said you weren't going to whip out the KY for some 17 turning 18-year-old kid
for Coleman. Right, I'm not whipping it out.
I'm just saying that we got to work on the context of that. Some
no, man. Okay. If people weren't here last night, what I basically says, I'm really happy Coleman scored. However, let's just keep in mind, he hasn't played a game yet for the Dortmund 2 team. And he's 19 or 18 years old, somewhere one of those two. Now, at 18 and 19, Pulisic was a starter / regular player for Dortmund. One team, not the 2 team, the big boy team. And so was Reyna. So you got a kid who's 18, 19 years old, still playing for the U19s, not playing for Dortmund 2. It's nothing to get overly excited about, although I'm happy as holy hell that he scored. And the reason I say don't get too excited is we've all learned our lesson. We've all been in love with a player who failed to ever live up to the standards we thought they were capable of. Obvious one being, man, we had a friend, what was his name? And he was the biggest Freddie Adu fan. And even when it was well and done known that Freddie Adu was not going to pan out, this guy went on free. Who was that, Brett? This guy defended Freddie Adu right up till he played in Julian. Yeah. Defended him right up until he went and played in Finland. Really? The 3rd division in Finland, or was it 4th? I
think he bought like 3 of his vacuum cleaners too.
He probably did. Adams torched Kate.
Did you hear that?
I missed it.
So Kate Adams and I think Pulisic were up there in the booth talking to the Paramount crew.
I saw that.
Kate had mentioned, she goes, so you guys going to go out and get some barbecue after this? And Adams goes, it's 11 o'clock. What barbecue place is open now?
I do remember that. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Wait. And a lot of people were pointing out that Adams was actually very interested in getting barbecue. He's like, wait a second, there's barbecue places open right now?
Damn, I know. I love barbecue. Made me hungry just thinking about it. The Olympic team drew France 2-2 when hardly anyone thought we would be in the match. I don't know why people think we wouldn't be in the match at all.
We were down 2-0 by the 83rd minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we were going toe-to-toe with them.
It's fair.
And we had our opportunities. I mean, Paxton Aronson missed a point-blank header, headed it right at the goalie. And what's his blubber? Aiden Morris missed a point-blank shot in front of the goal. We should have been up 2-0.
Yeah.
I jumped into the U23 match around the 30th, but overall, really impressive performance by the boys. They look competent. For much of the match, they did, and got into dangerous spots against a super talented France U23 team. Went down 2-0 and came back to tie it 2-2 with goals from Griffin Yao and Kate Cow.
Both goals, I only saw the highlights, but both goals identical.
Yes, and the funny
to the right. Whoop.
The funny thing when I was watching the game and Kate Cow got the ball right outside the box, I'm like, I don't know if this defender knows this, but he's only got one move, and he's going to do it right now. And he did, and he scored. It's like, dude, did you watch any film of Kate Cow?
Because U23 level, no, of course not.
You would have just pushed him left. Don't let him have the right. Force him left, and you're fine. The U23s are going to have one more camp in early June before it's decision time, assuming we all have 22-man roster. Here are some things I am looking at. Okay, you want me to read this whole thing, or?
Well, I figured we'd just go down. Why not? John said they fell for his move.
They did. I was like, sucker. Schulte looked really good. in the last 6-9 months, and I think he is going to Paris and might push Gaga for the starting spot. Assuming 2 overage players will be brought at CB, that leaves 1 spot for a U23 player. Neil would be the obvious choice if healthy, but I don't think he can be counted on, and given he has 0 time with the group. Dietz is having best club performances lately, but I think Tompkinson has looked best with the group.
You got a question, Derek?
I don't know about that.
If the U23s are actually pretty stacked, let's just say, which what he's kind of alluded to when he talks about this, do we even need to concern ourselves with bringing an overage player?
Not really.
I mean, we've got at least 3 deep at the goalkeeper. I mean, center back might be of a concern.
Is it McGuire already on the team? He's an overage guy.
He was in this camp, yeah.
So I don't know.
Somebody had mentioned him in a potential roster as a whole.
More than likely, the only overage guy will either be 1 center back, and it'll probably be Zimmerman, and it'll be 1 center forward. We don't really need any midfielders, overage midfielders.
I don't think so.
Okay. Because Aiden Morris, except for that clown show. So not only did Aiden Morris miss a point blank shot, he also gave away one of the goals by being an absolute klutz with the ball and losing possession. So
Duncan's underage. That's right. He qualifies for the U23s.
Okay, well, I don't know if we will need. I mean, the talk is Brandon Vasquez, but whether Vasquez wants to do that or not, it's a whole nother.
I don't think that has anything to do with Vasquez. I think whether or not Monterrey is going to release him.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
I don't know if Monterrey will release him, and that is a problem, folks, because
what about Jesus?
We're going to be playing that Little League thing, right? So in MLS,
that's as far as experience goes.
Yeah. Mexican teams versus MLS teams. So I don't know who's going to let their players go.
Rolled on?
No, BMR, no. I don't even want to hear that name anymore. Seriously, I don't. Yeah, Paxton and Paredes feel like locks, and it's hard to not call Booth 1 for attacking roles, and you probably have room for 1 more between Luna, Cal, and Gutierrez is not going. Chicago, let's just put it this way. U.S. Soccer are done with Chicago. They're not even calling up Chicago players anymore.
Brady got called into this camp. What are you talking about?
I know. But did he go?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he play?
Yeah. I have no idea who played this game. I didn't get to watch it. But yeah, Brady got called in because Gaga had to bow out.
I can't even remember who's playing goal for. Wasn't Slonina?
No, Gaga had to bow out.
Yeah.
He got a knock or an injury or something like that.
I never really
brought Brady in.
Well, here's the problem. None of the jerseys, when you're watching the game, have their names on them for the U23s. So it's like, oh God, now I got to look up who number 18 is.
Are you saying both white goalkeepers look the same?
Yes. And now that Cade Cowell has the same haircut as somebody else on the team, like they both have colored their hair blonde, like it was confusing from a distance seeing which one was whom and which one was which. But anyhow,
I'm going to throw this out there though, because he mentions Paxton and he mentions Paredes, he mentions Yao. They're locks, but again, that's reliant on the clubs releasing them for the Olympics. I mean, the Olympics are going to be taking place during preseasons and then going into the beginning of the season. Correct.
Correct. And if you're Griffin Yao is like one of the most important players on his shitty team.
Paredes has been playing with Wolfsburg like all season, like literally their left wing option.
Yeah, I mean Frankfurt might let Paxton go
unless they loan him back out again. Because if you loan him back out again, then you're going to be reliant on a preseason, so that way, he's at that club.
And by the way,
I think Luna and Gutierrez have the strongest chance of those 5 players or those 6 players total. I remember looking at Cal. I don't know if Cal's going to get released by Chivas.
I think Chivas will let Cal go.
Maybe.
Luna, that's questionable. But he's one of RSL's most flamboyant players. I will give this guy credit. He says it feels like they feel like locks.
Oh, sure.
So
if everybody could get released type thing, yeah, sure. Why not?
He's talking about his feelings,
yeah.
Not his not what's rational, right? This is how he feels. This is what gets his balls tingling, I guess. We'll put it that way. Alex, Brady played the last game. Okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Made at least 2 amazing ass saves in that game. One at point blank, and that was on the Aiden Morris fuck up.
Wait, so you're talking about this game? Okay, then shuttle.
Yeah, versus France. Aaron Alexander for $1.99. Thank you, brother. We do appreciate it. That seems to be a new donator to me, a new super chat guy. Reyna has the potential to replace De Bruyne at 6.
At what?
At Liverpool? At LV?
MC maybe?
I don't know. I don't think Reyna's going to Manchester City, number 1, which is where De Bruyne is.
I don't know. Holland might like that.
Yeah. Listen, Reyna, we're going to get into later. He can do about a lot of things. A lot of things. And anybody that can't figure that out at this point, they're just plain fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
They're just clowns. There are plenty of them on X. Joey for $4.99. Thank you, Joey. I always like to pretend this is Joey from Cheers.
I was going to go with Friends.
No, Friends. I'm sorry, Friends, not Cheers. Cheers. Yeah. I don't think there was a character named Joey on Cheers.
No, I don't think so either, but I immediately jumped to Friends because it's like, nope.
Oh, better theme song. Cheers or Friends? I'm going with Cheers. Cheers is just badass.
Sure. No, I think that's more, yeah, absolutely.
Where Friends is kind of like, shut up. I'm glad that's over.
Yeah.
Stupid song. All right. Props to LA Galaxy man, AJ De La Garza for defending Scally. Oh, you mean on X?
I didn't see that.
I did. And I can't really remember what it was all about. But I did see it. And yeah, that's cool. I think if you really everybody now wants to take a shit on Scally, because, that wasn't all his fault, for crying out loud. Jedi fell asleep too. Everybody fell asleep. And
sure. The thing is that everybody sees the goal at the beginning of the game and followed by a very mediocre performance.
Casey Keller said
even less than mediocre. That wouldn't even classify as mediocre. That's below mediocre.
Casey Keller, who isn't always the brightest bulb in the box, did say that he thought it was possible for Turner to get to that. He was kind of disappointed. He said,
"Get some strength in your wrist, my man."
Yeah, it went through his fingers. It went through his fingers. So, he said he was leaning back instead of standing up tall. And I agree with that. When you watch the replay, Turner's already like squatting.
He's in the goal.
He's squatting like he's going to take a shit and fall back into the goal.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there, because Turner used to be brave. He's like smashing it into my face. I don't care.
He's taking a beating at the club level, and it's playing a factor in his mentality. That's about all I can say.
Scally?
No, you said
sorry, Turner.
Turner,
yeah.
Scally, Scally. We've talked about Scally's performance at Gladbach for the all season, of course.
Hasn't been that great
of recent. So, I mean, and then that too. You're down at your club. It's going to take an effect in your national team. It's for some players,
and
not all players.
Let's just keep in mind, Scally's not one of Gregg's favorite dudes. All right, I'm just telling you, he's not. Like, he did not like the criticism at all about how complex Gregg's system is, and it shouldn't be that complex. You should be able to just show up and play. Where Gregg's like, no, you need to follow my system, because that's how we're gonna play. So shut up, Scally.
Well, I mean, Scally's in a unique situation right now where there's really nobody behind him, but he's not catching up to Dest.
No, he's so far behind Dest in every way. I used to say, if you really want good, solid defense, Scally's your guy. But Dest has been pretty effective, except for one moment versus Mexico. He was really good all game.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Joey. Jack Pineda. There's a regular. Love you, Jack. $5. Whenever I hear that someone's name is Jeremy, all I think about is Jeremy Clarkson. I don't, but I love me some Jeremy Clarkson. I love him because he doesn't suffer fools, and no one should suffer fools. It's one of the reasons I love Bruce Arena, even though he had that bad moment that in Trinidad that is probably going to put a permanent scar on his legacy forever. Even though he took us further than any other coach in the World Cup when he took us almost to the semifinals in 2002. And I love that jackass who's like, well, yeah, name a better coach than Berhalter that's coached the U.S. men's national team before. Well, that's easy. Bruce Arena, first time around. Young Bruce, not old Bruce. Something's missing with old Bruce. Young Bruce. So Berhalter going to beef with everybody? We're waiting for him to beef with us. We want him to.
I mean, Derek, what other player on the pitch had something to say about Berhalter?
Pepe.
Where was Pepe?
Yeah, didn't need him this time around, I guess. I would have personally given him some time since Balogun had and I quote, knock, which was not real, by the way. And it was just one of the reasons they put out publicly so they wouldn't embarrass Balogun when they decided to go with Haji Wright as the starting guy. Mm-hmm. You would think if you got a knock, just leave him out. I mean, why risk it? Let Pepe close out the game. Yeah, Pepe's one of the other guys that criticized. Yeah. Well, they had their problem on the phone call when he wasn't called up, number one. He hung up on Gregg. Number two, Pepe then also he lauded Hudson Ball and BJ Ball for being much more
freedom without Berhalter being here.
So much more,
of course.
Right. I had so much more freedom to do what I needed to do to help my teammates to get out. I wasn't worried about the system, et cetera, paraphrasing. All right.
I'm just saying the two people that criticized him after during GeoGate, because everybody else either kept their mouth shut or praised him. Just saying. Weird.
It's not. It's
not a conspiracy theory. Pepe's been tit for tatting as far as 45 minutes with Balogun ever since Berhalter came back. And again, Des is just so far ahead of Scally.
Yeah, I don't want anybody to think you're going all Alanis Morissette. Isn't it ironic?
Let's put some tinfoil hat on, guys.
Don't you think?
Conspiracy theory segment of the show.
Even though nothing in your song that you sung about was ironic, Alanis.
Well, isn't that ironic?
Isn't that ironic? That
maybe that's the meta of it. It's the irony is that nothing is ironic.
No, I think the irony is that nothing in her song is ironic. That's totally ironic.
Literally what I just said, Derek. Word for almost word. Almost word.
I know. I was just saying the same thing in a different way. All right. I got your meta.
No, you're wrong. I'm going to repeat the same thing you just said with a different inflection. That's all.
I got your meta. All right. What we got next?
We got the Berhalter presser here.
Oh,
we're just jumping right into the.
You found something in this press conference worth listening to?
Hey, it gets its content. When I was pulling up stuff to talk about, I was like, oof, man, we're gonna be hurting. Usually I've got 45. I've got 45 transfer news, 75 different dual nat panics. We got some fun fluff pieces to throw up for soccer and stuff like that.
Dude,
I had nothing, man. I had nothing.
We just played the Nations League. How can you have nothing?
Well, we're gonna get to the Nations. This is the Nations League. What are you talking about, Derek?
Okay, all right.
What you talking about, Derek?
All right, come on, Willis. Let's play what you got here. Let's see what Gregg's got to say. Boy, I've never seen Gregg this giddy. By the way.
Yeah, he was laughing at a lot of the questions he was just laughing at initially.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't believe you fuckers are asking me this right now.
He is just so relieved that they won because they played so bad against Jamaica, so bad against Trinidad and Tobago, so bad against Slovenia, was it? They just played so poorly since he's come back. He at some point must wake up and look in the mirror at some point and going, am I the baddie? Yeah, maybe I am.
Yep.
All right. It's like rain on your wedding day.
Untouchables still rocks out to Lannis once in a while. She's on two of the alternative rock stations now, more often than not. Like I hadn't heard anything from Lannis Morissette for like a decade, and then all of a sudden, I can't flip the channel without hearing one of her songs on those two channels.
It's a free ride when your bicycle's broken. I don't know what the lyrics are, but it's something like that.
Clearly, that didn't rhyme at all, man. She must have sucked as a writer. Bimmy says Landis didn't know what the word meant. That's the meme from Princess Bride, right? You keep on using that word. I don't think that word means what you think it does.
I don't think that word means what you think it means. Yeah. She didn't. I don't know if she knew what the word. I mean, she obviously didn't. She's certainly not an English major, which I am or was. So
an kerfuffle.
You got to wonder, does she know what a metaphor is either? All right. Go ahead and play Greg. I'm sorry.
All right. This is Greg's going to be talking about some Gio. And a lot of this stuff is actually going to be about Gio.
All right.
It's going to kind of dive into some of the topics we're going to talk about. So,
all right.
And he hasn't had that much game time in a while, and for him it was just a mental thing. He was determined to grind. I thought he was doing really well, and you see he got to the point right where we're going to take him out, where he actually did cramp up, and it was evident that he needed to come out. But
first off, I was questioning. I'm like, during the game on yesterday's stream, I was like, why are they bringing Gio out? Why did not bring out McKinney? Because McKinney was having a worse game, I think, than Gio was.
Yeah, but Gio only had 75 minutes in him.
Yeah, that's what he's basically saying here.
Yeah, I mean, so that's not surprising. I mean, McKinney's played 90 minutes how many times this season? Almost every game?
Almost every game, minus the last couple, I think.
Yeah. Well, he played horrible in the last game, so.
Yeah.
I think all tournament long, or the last two games, I think he did a great job. And, certainly they made a great choice giving player of the tournament or player this round to Gio, because I think he had a great impact in these two games.
Man, he's really not that good, though. He's really not good. He's not a good player. He can't even start for Forest. I mean, seriously, he's so bad. He's a stinky player. Oh, my God. Yeah. Okay. All right, morons. You keep it up. Keep it up.
We're going to skip the Tyler one I had written down, because that's basically just going to be Tyler fluff.
Look, can I just say this?
You should.
Reyna isn't playing it, not playing. By the way, that one moron who's like, man, he's not good enough to play at Forest. I'm like, he already has played at Forest, stupid ass. Because he has. Yeah. But he's like, oh, no, he's not good enough, though. Well, if he wasn't good enough, he wouldn't have played at all. Yeah. At all. Now, if you're Nuno and you're staving off relegation and you've got a certain chemistry going on in your team, you're not going to just put the new guy in, all right? There are lots of reasons that he might not be playing.
Unless the team just sucks on the attack, which Forest necessarily doesn't suck on the attack. They just suck at leaking in goals.
Exactly. Their problem isn't offense. They do rather well on that end of the field. Their problem is on the other side of the field. And so, Reyna's not going to necessarily be a help there, although in this game he proved that maybe he could be some help because he played a deep-lying role and he did a great job defending. So, and no, Berhalter did not do that. He didn't do that to help out Reyna in his club situation. He did it for his own tactical reasons, which we'll get into later.
All right, this is it's about focus. I wish we would have written a more descriptive word than just focus. So let's see what this is about.
It's about filming your own penis.
There you are.
Really focusing on that type of performance every game. And that's what it's going to take to be successful at an event like the World Cup.
Okay. It's not
the focus we brought in this game is the type we need to bring out in every game. That's what it's going to take to win the World Cup.
What is it with this whole chorus of people, including Casey Keller and others, who are saying, oh, you know what? If we were that focused and we brought that much energy to the Jamaica game, it would have been different. No, it wouldn't have. Because the problem isn't focus and intensity. I'm sorry, folks, it isn't. The problem is we don't know how to play against a low block. It's that freaking simple. We have no clue how to break down a low block. And with Mexico leaving all that space out there between lines for us last night and never getting their lines tight, it left us so much space to operate. It was space we never had versus Jamaica. Mm-hmm. They didn't give us that space. So can we talk about the tactics? No, we don't. We're just going to go, well, we just didn't have enough energy versus Jamaica. That's what happened.
Well, the whole focus and intensity aspect of in the Jamaica match was, like you said, wasn't the problem. I mean, hell, it should have been 3-1 at the end of the first half. We should have had at least 3 goals in that first half. We didn't put them away. Maybe that's a lack of focus. I don't know, or maybe it's just poor miss hits, whatever. But we also maintained something close to like 80% of the possession. We outshot them like stupid amounts. The The only aspect of that game that was fixed when Reyna came in, ultimately, was the pace and transition as far as how to break it down.
Right.
We talked about this ad nauseum on the day of the show, and then also before the Mexico game, is that whenever we got the ball back from Jamaica, when they made one of their few attempts at attacks, we fiddle fucked with it.
Yeah. Listen, it's easy to score in a whorehouse. Like if, somebody's spread wide open and asking you to enter, which is what Mexico did, because Mexico is prideful in the sense that they're not going to drop into a low block or even a mid block, because that's not a part of their DNA. And it would say we're better than they are, which they're not willing to accept and probably never will. And even if you ask them to play a low block, I'm not even sure they can. But other teams, they have no shame in playing a low block against us, and they're going to continue to do it until we figure out how to break it down. And we don't know how to break it down because they're not the easy whore and the prostitute that's cheap and willing and open to take you. No, they're the pretty girl next door who doesn't go on a whole lot of dates. She's really hot and guys are afraid to ask her out. That's a low block. I mean, it's just not easy entry, folks. You got to do some work and you got to change up the style and the way we play. You can't approach the girl next door like she's a prostitute. Probably not going to work, although some girls do like that. All right, anyhow.
The irony behind it is that the goal we scored against Mexico to open everything up with Tyler Adams is how you break it down. Outside of just being a fast in transition in the attack, shooting outside the box is how you're going to break down.
Yes, that is one way to do it. Absolutely.
And we saw it against Adams did it. Wasn't doing a low block.
Right.
We've got people who will do it there, but.
Yep. Nope. You got to shoot from outside the box like Tyler did. Musa tried it a couple times against Jamaica, got blocked.
Weah did one, I think.
Yeah, but you're going to have to try different things, and you can't play the 9 all alone in the box all by himself all the time. That's just not going to work.
I guess the funnier part about all this is how we played Mexico in this match is how we probably should have played it against Jamaica. Very direct, very quick pace moving forward.
Yes.
Maybe not initially. Maybe once we realize that Jamaica is going to be sitting back in that low block in the defense. At that point, Berhalter's like, go direct.
Go direct, be quick in transition, either one.
Yeah.
But go fast. Because as soon as Jamaica lost the little possession they had when they were not in the block, that's when you go quickly before they can get the block set up. And we never really did it. We did it a few times, just not enough. It's like, come on, can't you see how they're set up? So this is something Gregg must know at this point. He must know that against the low block, when you regain possession, you got to go. Even if that means lumping a ball over their back 4, you got to do it. And somebody's got to go after it and go chase it and get it and cross it quick before the low block set up. And we saw that versus Trinidad in the first game. It was just so absurd. We just, every time we regained possession, we kicked it backwards and let them go drop back into a low block. What are we doing? To quote somebody,
what
Tight Shirt
are
Twelman.
we doing? Yeah.
What are we doing? Said Tight Shirt.
It was funny because speaking of the Tyler's goal and everything like that, afterwards, after we all shut down for the live streams and stuff, I was listening to Tact and Peat do their post game and everything. And I was curious how they reacted to that goal, because I mean you and I, nobody predicted that Adams would ever shoot 35 plus yards out. 40 yards out.
I've seen him do it for Leipzig once in the Champions League.
He scored it too.
Yeah, it was a badass.
In our celebration, I mentioned, I'm like, nobody would predict that. It's only happened like 3 times in his life.
Mm-hmm.
He shot and scored. But yeah, you and I were like crazy animated during the entire thing. And I feel like I want to go through it. I want to clip out our animation and some of the other content creators reacting to it. I don't know who else does live streams besides Tact and then us in this situation, but it was funny because I was curious how Tact and Peat sounded. But then I realized that Peat doesn't do the actual live game anymore with Tact.
He doesn't?
No, he wasn't. He jumps in there every now and then to comment on something, but then he bounces back out.
Yeah, he does like halftime.
Yeah, so I'm scrolling through, to that moment, and Tact was like, oh, and McKinney passes to Adams, and ooh, whoa, but it was like so quiet, like he doesn't want to wake up the neighbors. But you and I are like, Jesus Christ, oh my God.
Maybe his girlfriend was napping. Who knows?
I'm assuming, yeah. It was like 10 o'clock at
Or-
night, but it's
Or
funny how
Adam,
different it is.
or Adam was sleeping on the couch because he was visiting, right?
Oh, it's possible.
I mean, you saw the picture between
Yeah.
Bigfoot meets the Hobbit there. That was hilarious. Is he really 5'3"?
No, of course not.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. I don't think he was that small.
I'm pretty sure it's like 6'1" or something like that.
I mean, I did send him our shirt a year and a half ago, and it was a medium, and it fits him perfectly.
He was rocking it in the post game too.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he went, oh, yeah. He rocked that shirt all day, actually.
Yeah.
Because they did a pregame thingy, I think. And people were saying, oh, Frank Kassler. Frank, we love you, by the way. He did a super chat, like it said, yeah, we're only watching your show because Derek's here. Which I'm sure Pete really appreciated, because Pete's like, well, yes, if you need incest, if you need your incest questions answered, you definitely need to go to Derek. So, okay. I just don't want that to get around like I'm the incest guy or something. I mean, because that's not what I said. What I said was humping your stepsister is completely fine. That's why we have the disclaimer at the end of our intro that, yes, having sex with your first cousin is not good. Go look up the Habsburgs. Go look up Charles II.
Unless you're in Kentucky, where they're passing legislation where first cousin is going to be okay.
Yeah, that could get really dangerous. But if people are going to do it anyhow, you don't want to throw them in jail for it. Well, you fucked your cousin. Now you're going to jail. That seems a little harsh.
Offspring could be dangerous. I mean, I feel like you're doing the country a service by doing that.
I think you should be able to fuck your cousin as long as you use contraception.
There, you probably shouldn't say that. I mean, I heard the joking in it, of course, but man, come on.
Well, the reason is illegal is because of the birth defects, correct? But how long did the Habsburgs and all of the monarchies in England, including the current one in England, they're interbreed. They've been interbreeding for years and having sex with their cousins for years. That's why you got a funky looking mother effer like Charles. That guy's a weird looking dude. Weird. His eyes almost touch together. His nose is long. His ears are ginormous. He's super not attractive. But then, the kids.
It's an indication of that should just persuade people to say, hey, no, this is really fucked up. I shouldn't do this.
And then again, his children are pretty decent looking. I mean, one of them doesn't have any hair anymore, but he was a good looking kid when he was younger. But that's because of Diane, right? Diane was a fairly attractive woman.
Let's not go about bashing the balding. Follically challenged. Come on.
And she was only like an eighth cousin twice removed from Charles. So that was completely fine. Leverdad for $1.99. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being a regular. When was the last goal scored due to pattern of play? Yeah, I can't remember one. I can't, because first of all, our patterns of play suck. And one of the reasons this game was so good against Mexico was not only did they play us straight up, and so there were all kinds of gaps in space that we normally don't have against people who play low blocks, but also it was chaotic as hell. Like, there was no pattern to play. We didn't get to play our little dinky around the horn thing that we used like to do.
Yeah.
I don't know why bald dudes catch strays.
Jealousy.
Who's catching strays?
Bald dudes. You're just talking about and he doesn't have any hair. It was so subtle of a thing that you didn't even recognize. You bashed the follically challenge, Derek.
I did? Who'd I bash?
You're talking about the royal family and what's his face?
That's
no, the other one actually.
The older one.
I
can't remember his name.
Periwinkle or whatever his name was.
Periwinkle.
Well, you mentioned how he's like, and he doesn't have any hair. Almost it's like that, as if that's a genetic defect from incest. You're bashing the follically challenge. It's not cool, man. Not cool.
I'd be totally cool if all the monarchies across Europe started naming their kids Periwinkle. Prince William. Thank you, Prince William, the smarter of the two brothers. At least his wife is. I don't know. There's something going on with his wife. Like nobody's seen her in 7 months or something like that.
She's got cancer.
No shit.
Yeah,
that's too bad. I really like her. I mean, she's hot. I mean, she was hot. I don't know if she's still hot. But sorry that she has cancer. That sucks.
Wait, are you saying she's no longer hot because she lost her hair?
I'm not saying that. No.
Challenge there, man. Rough.
I'm not saying that. We all prefer that our girls, anyhow, shave down there as it is. So anyhow, who wants a giant bush? All right. Yeah. So where are you going next?
This is more Gio talk, and I think this was a good one. I think I started this actually with the question, so we can hear. I think we can hear what he says here.
You've spoken about a lot about his qualities throughout this week. Do you feel like he's become almost your most irreplaceable player at this point?
He's not going to say that.
The second part, he spoke 3 days ago about how he's so far past everything that happened between you guys at the World Cup, between your families, everything. When did you sense that he had fully moved past it?
When did he sense it? Well, listen, there was this time where my right testicle stopped hurting, and then I knew Reyna. He didn't hate me anymore. Yeah. What's he gonna say? When did you feel it? What is this, Star Wars? Is he gonna pick this up through the Force or something? I know it when he allowed me to embrace him and fondle his cock and balls. That's when I knew it was over.
He brought the birthday cake. Clearly, at that point, Gio, his heart melted, and he accepted Berhalter back in his life.
Jesus. Yeah. Oh no, he's definitely back to allowing me pissing on him in the shower now. So that's when I knew it was okay. Come on, he's not going to tell you the exact. When's the moment you knew? Well, who writes these questions?
I found it funny in the sense that he at least asked an awkward question, and it wasn't sort of like a, what did you think of that second goal, and was it the superest, coolest goal ever? You know?
Remember that time Reyna scored in this game? That was cool.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. Yeah, it was better than that. However, you could have framed it like this. Hey, so Greg, how important has Gio become to the way your system works and how you want to function as a team? Can you give us any information about that? And how close do you guys think you are now compared to you were, say, a year ago? Have things been, are you able to communicate on a regular basis? Is it comfortable? That would have been fun. And it's still the same question, but you don't sound like an idiot.
I think the only way to make this more awkward is if he says, and have you guys mended fences with Danielle and Claudio? Thank you.
Oh, now that would have been a deeper dive. And by the way,
sorry, what was your name? Yeah, you're never going to ask a question ever again. Bye.
Yeah, exactly. Have you mended fences with that dumb cunt, Mrs. Reyna? Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone there. That's private, by the way. Nobody needs to know that.
Nobody needs to know that. I agree. Yeah.
Right. Jonathan Miller, why aren't we asking Greg if he knows what common sense is? Well, because that's a really general term, Jonathan. And I'm not sure he has the common sense to know what that kind of question would be, or the answer would be, or a low block. I mean, how to break one down. I don't know why nobody asked him that, because we're all out there pretending, all the pundits. Now, I haven't watched Herc yet. And Seb, that's later tonight after we finish the show. I usually watch that show. I don't know if they're going to bring it up, but so far, no one's brought it up. No one's brought up, hey, we're not good against a low block. So that's the one thing we need to figure out here, because teams that play us tit for tat, we're fine because they give us space. It's more chaotic. It's back and forth. We can work with that. But low block, no. We haven't figured that out yet. Nobody's saying that. No, everybody's just saying we lost to Jamaica because we didn't give it our all. Yeah. We didn't come in 100%.
Need the energy and the focus, guys.
Give me a break. Well, explain Trinidad then. Did we come in at 20% versus Trinidad? Because no, we didn't. We weren't just waxing our Dolphins all game. We were trying to score. We just didn't know how.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, let's just hear what he has to say about it.
Okay.
Do you think it's going to be enlightening?
No, I already watched it. I know it's not. I know it's not enlightening.
I think when I took over the team again, I talked about it needing time. right? And that's something that I think we both acknowledged. And
that repositioning is actually a tactic that he learned at the Immoral conference when he has to think on the top of his head. So he like does that to, it gives him time to think about something.
Sure. No, well, it's also a sign, if you know anybody that reads body language really good, they will tell you that's a sign of being uncomfortable. So if you're
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, if you're doing an interview and somebody asks you to answer a question and you absolutely readjust in your seat 4 times, yeah, you're probably a little uncomfortable answering this question, and you know it's a delicate question, so you're going to have to answer it in a way that's not going to cause any disturbance in the force.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the more you work together and the more that, he believed that intentions were true and that the whole staff has his best interest in mind, I think we started to gain trust, and we were very patient with it. I've spoken so much about how talented he is and how he can, unlock defenses, and he just has these qualities.
It's giving him a compliment. He's like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he keeps forgetting to mention I can pee on his leg again in the shower. And once he mentions that, we're all good, right? Because that's a tradition going back to Klinsman.
Yeah, I fully believe that they've worked it out and everything hashed out. This is me being joking. This is me being a jokey joke here, but oh god, I fucking spaced that. I went so long into that. I completely forgot what I was going to say. Okay. I had something really good. I mean, good in the sense that it was going to be another tinfoil hat moment of me. But
yeah, there are 2 things.
Oh, maybe in order for him to become coach again, he has to by contract mention how good of a player Gio is, and just to throw out a couple comments here and there, like, oh, he's good at doing this, and he's all of a sudden scratching his neck because then he's like, that hurt just to say.
I don't think so. I think he's happy to say it. Yeah, I think he's happy to say it. But yeah, it's hard to say, believe this, but he's a worse interview than Klinsman because he really never says much of anything. Klinsman's really good. You got to step on their toes. Sometimes you have to step on the toes. And then when they're in the shower, you pee on them. But other than that, we didn't get much out of Klinsman. He said some better things into the media as in the press that was published that we all could appreciate about MLS, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess in a way you did get more info from Jurgen, right? Because this is a big nothing block burger. If you see a low block, can't you just step over it? It's low.
I mean, that's what Pulisic did, right?
You can play.
He saw the low block coming and he jumped over it.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, what you should be doing is just playing so quick on the transition when you regain possession, they don't have time to form a low block. And that might mean chipping it over their heads. Yes, It could mean that. Might be one. Go ahead.
I was going to say, this comment about the dual nats. I don't know if you recall this, but this is just to emphasize his one of his strengths as a coach is with the dual nats. So the big question is, do you think all the Mexican Americans in the country that are watching you curb stomp the Mexican national team are going to look at this and say, maybe I want to represent the United States?
No,
is basically what the question was. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but still.
No, that was the question.
Youth prospects who are eligible to play for the Mexico or the United States.
I guess
the United States, Fidel Barajas, for example, last night has 2 assists in MLS. There's always going to be kids like that. What do you think is going through their minds when they see you guys consistently beat Mexico? You could say dominate them. Do you think it's motivating them to join the program, or it's reminding everyone that it's that much tougher to be a part of this
He's
team?
Supposed to generalize about every Mexican American player.
Every single one, yes.
Every Mexican American youth soccer player now, he's going to have to generalize. You're asking him to generalize a whole block of people.
Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous. And no, I don't think a lot of players, let's just use Zendejas, are looking at their choice right now and going, you know what? I might have had a better chance playing for Mexico.
I still follow that one-time switch.
Can I switch a Rue back? Listen, yeah, I'm sure that Aiden Morris is thinking, damn, I'm never going to get to play on
If
this
you're
team.
fucking Canada, I would have been playing in the play-in spot for Copa at this moment.
He might get to play in Olympics, and that's it. Because the chances of him, look at the odd man out now, it's going to be Luca De La Torre.
Yeah.
The way we're playing right now, we don't need Luca De La Torre. He's an afterthought at this point. And he's a damn good player. But we are so jacked up and loaded in the midfield, there are going to have to be several injuries before De La Torre makes the team again. Unfortunately for him.
It's just one injury at that point, right?
That's one. But Aiden Morris is going to need like 3.
Easily 3, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think that – okay, if you're talking about inspired to be U.S. men's national team fans, maybe that they look at that and they want to root for the team that's a winner, not a loser, like Mexico has become. But as far as them having a better chance at playing for the national team, they got a way better chance playing for the crap that's going over there in Mexico right now. Because that is the worst team I have ever seen in my 35 years of covering the sport and writing about it. That's the worst Mexican team I've ever seen. And it's not the coach. It's just look at the players. They're just outmatched by us in every way. And we got a deeper bench than they do too.
Yeah.
So there you go. They never replaced their golden generation.
No. But then this is our golden generation. So hopefully we replace our golden generation with
that's looking a little shaky too. That's looking shaky.
We just start bringing in, a couple players here and there. We actually have a wide range of ages instead of an entire, 8 or whatever, 18 to like 22 going to the World Cup. And then that's just going to be our next World Cup roster for the next 4 years or 4 cycles.
I think we're good until 2030. But after that, I'm a little nervous.
Well, like I said, hopefully there's a couple of people coming through the woodwork and filling in spots.
Hopefully I'm still around by 2030. All right.
All right. So here's so he's going to talk about the dual nats comment, which is basically what we've kind of alluded to anyways.
Sure.
But then he does go into not really explaining his reasons for having Gio play so deep, because that was the beginning of the question.
He doesn't say. But yeah, I don't even remember his answer.
I wouldn't get carried away with that type of stuff. I think it's
good.
It's part of the player, and we've always said this. It's they have to feel it in their heart. They have to really want to be part of the group.
What about their pants?
For their country in international competition, and for us, all we try to do is show them the environment, show them the group of guys. I spoke a lot about.
So when he said show them a group of guys, the first thing that came to my mind. Have you ever seen the movie Accepted? We talked about this before, but there's a scene where the main guy, Jason Long, goes to who's rushing for this fraternity, and he's just like, he's talking to the head guy of the fraternity. He's like, "Hey, why don't you go around and meet some guys?" And he goes, "Well, I'm not really into guys. That's cool if that's what you're into."
Where are the girls?
That's what he's like. It's like your parents probably don't get it, but I do, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is the one good thing Berhalter's been good at.
Yeah,
he's never begged any player to play for us. They just wanted to play for us. Maybe in Moose's case, he's like, okay, I got really a tiny dick's chance of playing for England, and at some point, Balogun was like, well, I'm, fuck Southgate, which is perfectly an acceptable thing to say because Southgate is a moron. But not just because of the Balogun decision, just because he is a moron. Gregg's good here. He got it right. He's like, don't get so excited about this. Put your dick back in your pants. It's not a big deal. I don't know what you're rambling about. But
as we mentioned, you think these Mexican American players are looking at it going like, man, this Mexico team's getting the curb stomps. I feel like I might actually have a chance making that team.
Exactly. They suck.
Am I gonna crack this US team? Oh, I don't know, man.
Yeah, whose job am I gonna take? Pulisic's? No. McKenny? No, not McKenny. Reyna's? No, not taking his job. And then even run behind that, Cardoso, Musa. Whose job are you taking? Are you going to just jump and start playing for AC Milan tomorrow? No, you're not. Probably. That's an exceptional player, right? And let's just look at the history, though. Too, there haven't been there've been a good number of them that have played for us. Dual that, Mexican Americans. Torres, of course, being he was good for his we needed him to do, and there were many others. Not all of them were that great. Yarbrough,
predominantly defense and goalkeepers at that point.
Yeah, and then we had a couple center backs play for us. Can't remember.
Roscoe, there's Castillo out left.
Yep, and then the other. I mean, nobody considers Mr. Own Goal.
Gonzalez.
Nobody considers him a Mexican American, but he was as well. So,
we forgot about Joe Corona.
Joe Corona, yep, he was good. He was good.
Gonzalez got Castillo,
but it hasn't really worked out for most. It really hasn't, and I don't know if it's generational. I don't know if they're having a problem right now in Mexico in their youth programs. I don't know what's going on, but like I said, Mexico's always been pretty competitive with us, but they're just not anymore. Like we're just a way better eyeball test. We're a way better team. And even, guys that have no dog in this fight, like Gregg Berhalter today, was like, Craig could give 2 fucks about the U.S. men's national team. Doesn't care at all. But one thing he did say is like, this is the worst Mexican team I've seen ever. They're poor. They're an he called them an utter embarrassment. That's what he called them.
Yeah.
All right. You can continue. I'm
what
sorry.
A quality bunch of guys we have on our team. And you can see that. And, so for us, we want to do our talking on the field with our play. But I think off the field is even a more special bond that the guys have created with each other.
Okay. I don't even want to know about that part.
Yeah, I won't get into all the tactics because every time I do, I get in trouble somehow from Jeff
Carlisle,
and
Stephen Goff,
Doug and Paul,
Doug McIntyre, Paul Tenorio.
Do they hold his feet to the flames when he talks about tactics?
I don't know. I don't understand the comment. I've never heard. By the way, we like Stephen Goff here. Been on the show. He's a really good reporter. Pretty honest for the most part, but knows how to play the game. What has he said about your tactics? What has Jeff Carlisle said? What has Paul Tenorio said? Doug McIntyre? What have any of those 4 guys said?
Yeah, I'll say the Athletic at least goes in on that a little bit more than the others that we'd mentioned. Maybe Goff, but definitely not. I don't know about Carlisle in that sense, but
I don't know about
maybe I'm just jaded with the whole blackmail thing with Carlisle.
Well, you should be, because you never apologize for it, and I don't respect people who don't apologize for mistakes that are that large. Sorry, I don't care. People defended him against me. They're like, "Man, why don't you don't have anything else to criticize?" No, I criticize everything. The whole game. I watch all aspects of the game and I criticize. That's what I do. And that's not always bad criticism. Sometimes it's positive. Sometimes it's encouraging criticism. Sometimes I say things that are nice. Sometimes I say your reporting sucked. And you know what? All I was asking for from Jeff was like an acknowledgement that was poorly worded. That first headline, which he could have said I had nothing to do with how the headline was written. Or he could have said, we fixed it as soon as we could.
It was in the article.
And it was in the article. Blackmail. There it was. Still some dumb fuckers out there who don't know what the legal terminology for blackmail is. It's just baffling.
So I almost feel like him bringing some of the bigwig names up, right? Yep. I feel like that was his way of saying that the media, not necessarily the mainstream media, but some of the outliers. He brought up the whole Marsh debacle after the Jamaica game.
Right.
I know that obviously there's. I mean, I don't know personally, but I know there's issues between with him and Herc and Seb.
Yep.
So instead of bringing them up, he'll never bring up us by any means. But
no, I mean, Herc called him a muppet.
Some Yazoos on the interwebs over there on YouTube are saying mean things about me when I talk about tactics. So I'm not going to explain why Gio played at the left back spot.
It's got to be an inside joke we don't get, because you shouldn't be worried about that. But what I would have said if I were Gregg is, listen, I plan to use this particular strategy again against Mexico and maybe other teams. So I'm not going to tell you why I decided to play Reyna deep. But I don't think it's a mystery why. We'll talk about it here soon.
Yep.
It was an instruction.
Yes. So told to do it.
Yep.
Just like we said last night.
Last
Plot.
little bit, and this is just for shits and giggles, guys. This has to do with the accent of the person talking. Not in a bad way by any means, but he brings light a word that's difficult for him to say in English because it's not his native language.
Okay.
There is a word that you repeat over and over in the first part of this conference, and it's a word that I always have problem in my English as a second language. Focus. Always. How do you do it?
It sounded like focus.
Exactly, and he knew exactly what he's doing, and I think he's the best part of this entire presser.
This is great. Yes.
Focus.
I love it. It's kind of like when the French people try to say, I can't
part
remember.
of this conference, and it's a word that I always have problem in my English as a second language. Focus. Always.
He just needs to do the faux part stronger. Focus, not focus. Yeah, which is odd because FO in Spanish isn't that far off.
I think he knew exactly what he was doing.
Focus, I guess, in Spanish. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was good stuff. All right.
We got your ESPN video, and then we can talk about the game, or do you want to just hold that video off?
Well, no, I've talked about all the quotes from the ESPN video, but let's play one. Let's play 140. And this is KC saying why we won.
Casey Keller scored more goals.
Yeah.
This for the U.S., but the big question mark is, where was that in the semifinal? Because if the U.S. can perform like that more consistently, then I think we're going to see a better U.S. team.
He was talking about energy, the energy they brought. That was his difference, the energy. And if we can bring more focus and energy like that, we're going to win.
More what energy?
Focus.
Oh, focus.
Focus. And you know what? You're just not really breaking it down. Like, is that supposed to be insightful? That's not why we had a problem at Trinidad. That's not why we had a problem with Jamaica. That's why is nobody addressing the elephant in the room that they don't even know is an elephant? They don't even know it. How can you cover this game and not talk about the tactical realities?
Yeah, we talked about the fact that energy wasn't the issue against Jamaica. We maintained possession longer. We had more shots. I mean, we did everything possible. The big difference between the Jamaica game and the Mexico game is how Mexico played compared to Jamaica.
Correct.
That's the big difference.
Nobody wants to point this out. Why?
We talk about when El Salvador plays us. They do a high press against us, and it gets us off our game completely.
Yep.
We talked about Trinidad, Tobago, Jamaica. Who's the other team that's in there that did that to us?
Well,
regardless, low block teams.
Everybody will press us and then drop to a low block.
Why not?
Quickly.
Yeah.
And they'll play a 5-4-1 or a 4-5-1, regardless. They're clogging up the field in two lines. And those lines are tight and they're usually pretty close together. Well, Mexico didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Look at how much space they gave us last night. Tons and tons of space where we were dribbling through their midfield like it was soft butter, melted butter. It was so easy to cut through their stuff because they gave us so many lanes and so much space.
There's moments where Gio had the ball, bringing it out of our defensive third, of course, and he was moving up almost at a pace of a walk.
Yeah,
nobody was pressuring him. He's just biding his time, waiting for a pass, waiting for players to get in their spots.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there are other reasons. Obviously, having Rima on the field is a big bonus as far as doing, long distance passes. Yeah, he missed a few of them last night, but in general, there was just a lot more space to play into because their lines weren't jammed together. They didn't play a low block. They played us straight up. Mm-hmm. Jamaica knew we were the better team. Mexico can try to compete, but if not, But if not in Mexico City, they are going to need better luck or worse referee. You know, they might as well have been playing in Mexico City last night. Because out of the 56,000 fans that were there, maybe 10% of them were American. That's what people have told me who were at the game.
Well, supporting the U.S. team.
Yes. They were there to support the American team.
Yeah.
10%. That's it. And this is what the amazing great stuff is, if you want to get into specifics. I found it really exciting when I watched some of the fan footage. It's very easy to tell in many ways that a lot of the American support that was there are Hispanic and Latino Americans. And they made up a gigantic portion of the USA supporters last night. That is very encouraging.
Wait, so are you suggesting that we could actually play, Mexican or other Hispanic teams in very Hispanic populations, cities that have large populations there, and still get a good U.S. support?
No, not a good, not a.
No, I'm not going to say a dominant. I'm not going to say like
not a majority,
by means, but I mean,
not
still
a majority.
Get a good support, and you can grow the support.
And why do you think it is that Latino and Hispanics who've been here 1-2 generations, maybe 3, support the United States? Well, because A, maybe they were born here. 2, maybe they're inspired by the team. And 3, they fucking consider themselves American.
Of course, they're American.
And not they don't really have the dash thing for them. Isn't that important? Mm-hmm. They love this country because it's provided opportunities, blah, blah, blah for them and all that jazz. So whatever it is, I don't know what it is. I don't know all the reasons, and I'm not going to generalize a whole group of people, but I just love that. I just love that. I think that's great. We've got a lot of work to do to win over folks who are first generation, second generation. I mean, my mom is German, born German. She's German American. Well, she's just an American. If you ask her, she's going to say, I'm just American. I know I got a funny accent, but I'm just American. And if Germany are playing the United States, she's supporting the United States. Now, it takes some time for some generations to embrace that. And they can do it on their own time. But I got to say, we got a lot of work to do, but that part of it is exciting to me. That seems like there's a whole lot of hope. And it's also because if you are Latino or Hispanic, you probably understand the game. You love the game already. You love soccer. That's just like in your DNA. So that's why I think it's easy for them to transition into loving soccer and loving the U.S. Whereas you see regular old Americans, been here for 5, 10, 18 generations, they could give 2 fucks about U.S. soccer. Like, you couldn't find anything on mainstream news about it. You couldn't find, people here don't care because soccer's not in their DNA yet. And that's why we only have 4,000 people or 10,000 people. They're supporting the United States out of 56,000 people. That's an embarrassment. That's an embarrassment. And U.S. soccer needs to work on that because they're just not doing a very good job talking about this team and how good it is and the players are. And I think maybe there's also a good portion of people who don't want to watch the United States because they just watch Jamaican game and they just watch the Trinidad game, or they watch us play Slovenia, or they watch us play Germany since Gregg's come back. And they're like, I don't want to watch this. It's no fun to watch. So we got a lot of work to do. Mm-hmm. I'm Hispanic American, says Angel Soto, and we'll always support the U.S. men's national team. And we're not all Mexicans either. Exactly. That's why I said Hispanic and Latino fans. I'm well aware that there are a lot more immigrants from all over Central, South America, even not just Mexico. People don't understand that. Actually, I think the immigration of Mexicans in general is an all-time low. It's, a lot more Guatemalans, Nicaraguans, El Salvadorans, etc. It's a whole blend of different people. So, I always have to remind people, hey, not every guy that's Hispanic is a Mexican. Okay, can we get over that? There are people that they're like, oh yeah, all the guys that came over and they worked on my house and these Mexicans were great. It's like, you don't know they're all Mexicans. Dude, why are you saying they're all Mexicans? They're not. They all speak Spanish, but I doubt they're all Mexicans. It's crazy. Anyhow, but that's something we're gonna have to get over in this country. We refer to every Hispanic as a Mexican in this country. It's just ridiculous. Anyhow, go ahead, Brett. Before I get
we're on we're on your video. So anywhere else we're covering on this one?
Oh yeah. Let's talk about 3:45. Just to get Gregg Burley on the show.
Okay.
Because I love me some
viewers.
Gregg.
Because I'm going to tell you, this team, this current version of Mexico, is an utter embarrassment. An embarrassment. And the US were able to outplay them, outrun them, outwork them, scored 2 very good goals. And you can't argue against that. This United States team, the US men's national team, has a limit.
I didn't like that part.
Got some.
You say lemon or limit?
A limit.
Okay.
And what his point, so you don't have to play the whole thing, is he's like, let's just look at them. They do have a limit because their starting center forward was Haji Wright, who replaced Sargent, who's also in the championship. Like, if they're not Premier League players, so there's a limit. There's a ceiling for how good this team can be right now because there are certain positions where they don't have players that play in the best leagues in the world yet, or play in, just underneath the Premier League. So his point really is they all need to, Sargent needs to go play in the Premier League. Haji needs to be in the Premier League. And then maybe the limit or the ceiling goes up. But I do agree that this is the worst Mexican team I've ever seen in my life.
Like, again, we brought this up last night too. I think we were talking about when to see CONCACAF do well in World Cup. When Costa Rica made the quarters, or it was the quarters, right? When they got out of the group with like Uruguay, Italy, and I think England.
Right.
And is Craig going to sit there and say like, yeah, they had a limit. They had a limit, right?
They did have a limit.
They had a limit. But I'm just saying they exceeded that limit.
They did.
They exceeded that limit. So
yeah, it's hard to put a cap. We've seen how
they've got a soft ceiling. That's what you can say, because you can break through that soft ceiling, but you may not necessarily go above it.
I know it's a decade ago or more, but Greece did win the Euros.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so weird stuff can happen. I don't know if you can never say
Iceland run through the Euros too, man.
Yeah, exactly. You can't say that people aren't going to punch above their weight, because they will.
Yeah.
On occasion, they can, and they will, and they have. I mean, no one would have said Greece had any shot at winning the Euros. I don't know how many decades ago it was now. It seems like forever ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a shocker. It was a shocker when they won it.
So he's answering you there. Is it 04?
That sounds about right, David. That sounds right around that time. I can't believe it's been that long ago.
Oh, David beat BMR out, so
20 years ago. Oh, I was thinking a decade, or I did say a decade or two, but I was thinking less than that. But wow. Yeah, time's flown, Brett.
Yeah.
I had a 3-year-old in 2004, but it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. Sometimes
I was at that point, I was probably going to become a junior in college.
That's crazy. Yeah, I had in 04, I had been graduated for 10 years from college. So, yeah. Okay. So that's it for this. Just want to play those clips. And then are we going to talk about Reyna specifically at any point?
We're jumping right into that right now, actually.
The clownery. The clowns on X, the receipts that we have. And God bless Chris Gary. We went after a couple of these dudes. And one of them was like, "You're coming back at me after a year?" And I was like, I don't think there's a time limit to expose somebody's stupidity.
Yeah, actually, I've seen one of these are about a year old.
Last time I checked, there's no time limit on exposing stupidity.
But I guess the time frame makes sense though, because this is prime GeoGate right here.
It is
every single one of these. So no, the time's non-existent there. Yes, we can come back at you for a year because that was a stupid comment to make.
Yep. So we're handing out receipts tonight, thanks to Chris Gary. So if you don't watch the show and you're one of these people, and unfortunately you do watch the show, then We'll give you a pass because I'm sure you've learned your lesson by now, and you're not one of these
I can recognize
dipshits.
his name.
Yeah, it's a fucking baseball fan, first of all. What does he know? But he says, and he even goes at the Reynas. He goes straight at Reyna. He tags him in this. Gio's parents have to be the biggest scumbags in soccer history. I don't know about that. I don't know about the biggest scumbags. There's a scumbag in Brazil who's just going to jail for rape. He's going there for 6 years. He used to play for Man City. Anybody remember his name? Rubinho? Listen, there are worse things than calling up Ernie Stewart and doing something really, really, really dumb. Yes, it was douchey. But the biggest scumbags in soccer history? I don't think so. I don't think so. Their son doesn't play, and they blackmail the coach. Wasn't blackmail, moron.
And it had nothing to do with playing time either.
God, yeah. At this point, when they were calling about the immoral leadership conference. Okay?
Well, even the whole beginning of the debacle at the World Cup had nothing to do with actual playing time. It was the fact that Berhalter was mere seconds away from shipping Gio back either to Germany or home.
Yep.
So
he says
that's where it all started. Now, technically, it all started with Gio's performance in the pre-World Cup friendly that maybe sparked it all off, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But again, resolved, of course. But the whole drama between family, friends, all stemmed from that situation. It had nothing to do with the fact that Gio wasn't going to be playing.
Right.
You know?
And this guy obviously read Jeff Carlisle's article. So, Jeff, this is what you created. These are the monsters you created because this guy read it on ESPN. He's not even a U.S. men's national team or a Gregg Berhalter fan, he says. But this is so distasteful. I hope Gio Reyna flops so far down that he never sees a national team again. Why would you say that about, at the time, a 19, 20-year-old kid? You're classless. He hashtags classless. That's the most hilarious thing. You are a classless piece of shit. And this is your receipt for being a piece of shit. And on a moron scale, Brett, I am giving him a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
You got a rating?
This ranks up there about 9 out of 10. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just it's everything we've argued about the whole GeoGate thing.
Yeah.
Squeezed into less than 200 characters.
It is pretty good in that way. BMR or saying Napoleon was freaky short. Yeah, it's like BMR grabs a stick and I'm like that koala bear on the branch and he's like poking me. He's like poke, poke. Not biting. Not gonna bite BMR. We all know Napoleon was not freaky short.
Yeah.
He might have been in his pants because they do have his dick somewhere in a jar. It doesn't look that big, but he could have been, when he died, he could have just come out of a cold shower. So we don't know, or a cold bath. Gio,
real quick.
Chris Gary, Jeff Carlisle's great grandfather started the Napoleon short rumor. It could be Carlisle is
never retracted it either, man.
Carlisle is in fact a very British name. It's possible that he worked for, say, the London Times at the time. There are 4 lights, says Gio should never play for the national team again. So you're an idiot. That's really simple. Utley, YATM, your ass to mouth. Yeah, your ass is to your mouth. Utley, what a piece of garbage. I mean, do these people think? Do they think? There are 4 lights, but none of them are turned on in your house or your brain. Okay? You get a 9 out of, that's a 10 out of 10 because it's so short. It doesn't even give an explanation of why.
Yeah, it just sounds like you're out for the kid, right?
You just don't like young kids because of what their parents did. And I would say this to you, Mr. Utley, is that you should be banned from X because of what your parents did. That's giving birth to you. That's a fucking crime, giving birth to such a moron. And because they gave birth to you, and that is an act, a criminal act, you should be banned from X and never get to say stupid stuff again. How's that?
There you go.
I'm waiting for you to light up on one of these, Brett. You gonna light one of these motherfuckers up?
I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see. which one's gonna push my buttons, mate. And I don't know. I'm in this mood where I'm enjoying poking you here.
I'm just more irritable than you are. Let's just be really honest here.
We got to start off with Roger here.
Okay, Claudio Reyna. This is really small.
Claudio Reyna sent
multiple messages to
soccer. You want to do it?
Yeah, U.S. soccer executives during the World Cup threatening to reveal sensitive details about Gregg Berhalter's past, according to ESPN. Nobody's saying that's a good thing. We've condemned it.
And we've also
Claudio.
We've also talked about this is also who needs to send multiple texts. They're all in the World Cup. They're all there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is also same organization that pushed the blackmail and all the information peddled down by U.S. Soccer. Now, I'm sure there were text messages, and we do know that Danielle definitely said that, if he keeps talking about my son, man, I could say something that could really, get
Danielle
him
douched
fired
it up. She
whatever,
douched it up. Yes.
And there were definitely text messages back and forth, of course. But as far as I know, the text messages were really trying to figure out what the hell is going on between Gio and Gregg.
Well, they were early on, and then they got nasty once she made, finally, after the Immoral Leadership Conference, she made the call.
Oh, of course, 100%. Yeah, after the World Cup, yes.
That was a really bad call on her part. No doubt about it. She should be ashamed of herself, but Gio should never be blamed for his parents' actions. But this Jared Thorne gets another 10 out of 10 for moronic activities when he says Gio should never play for the U.S. men's national team again. Why, Jared? Why? You can't even say why? You're just that dumb? You read Jeff Carlisle's article, and this is what you got. Okay, so again, you should be punished for what your parents did, which is your mom popping you out of her fucking cervix and out of her big, large, stinky pussy. You should be banned for your parents giving birth to a moron. You should be banned from X. How's that? How's that feel? You want to be blamed for something your parents did? Giving birth to you? A criminal act? You want to be banned? Okay.
I wonder if there's a correlation between the people we have listed here who are saying that he shouldn't be included ever again in Twitter feeds that have absolutely nothing to do with soccer. I'm going back through Jared's feed right now. I'm all the way back to March 10th. I mean, that's 15 days ago, and I haven't seen a goddamn thing about soccer at all.
Might be
about the U.S. men's national team. It could have been something about a club team or anything like that. Nothing.
Yeah, this is what you did, Jeff Carlisle. This is what you did. You helped do this.
Brought in a bunch of random just sports fans that have an opinion on stuff, I guess.
Correlation could also be a low IQ and social emotional learning ability. That could be a correlation. IQ.
Oop.
Stupidity.
There you go. March 2nd was the first soccer post I've seen in his entire feed, and it says, "You stupid fucks, Nottingham Forest."
Okay, so he's supporting Gio now?
Maybe. I didn't even put two and two together until you just said that. Yeah.
I mean, maybe now maybe he's
a Turner fan. Who knows?
Maybe. Oh, well, it could be a Turner friend. Yeah, could be. But he hates some Gio on this post here. All right, another one. This is
a lot of emotional people here.
Just roll through morons. Next moron, Liam Hopkins, who must be English, because if you're named Liam and you're in the United States, wow, how lame is that? SVW 303 says Claudio Reyna should be fired. Okay, from his job in Austin, which he was, I believe, let go from. And Gio should never play. Why?
Didn't he still have the job though? I thought he got the job back or whatever.
I don't know. I think he's still a consultant or something. But
maybe that's what
why do so many idiots think that you should be punished for something your parents do?
Yeah.
I don't get it, Liam, since your fucking father was a serial goddamn groper of young girls, allegedly. Should you be banned from X because your grandfather was a piece of shit too? I mean, how does this work? How far back we going? Just your parents.
Yeah.
Just your parents? If your parents were total douchebags, then you should be banned from stuff? How about you should be banned from X then? Because your mom was a prostitute, allegedly. Bad person. That's an illegal activity. You should suffer for what your parents do. You should suffer. You should pay the price for bad mistakes that your dad made when he groped those 4-year-old girls, allegedly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say one thing about Liam. At least he is in fact a soccer fan, and I got to give him props. For me being a Chicago fan, having to deal with Chicago shit all the time, he's a Rapids fan. So
well, he's not very smart.
We're talking. Well, we're both just gluttons for punishment, I guess.
I mean, just because you're a fan of something, I mean, I'll give him he's a fan, but his IQ's got to be at like 80, which isn't bad because I'm here. Lincoln's IQ was somewhere around there, which I don't buy, by the way. I think Lincoln was more like a 120.
He freed the slaves, so we're good.
There's no way you got an 80 IQ and you are the president of the United States.
He was a lawyer, I believe, too, at the time.
Yeah,
so
give me a break.
He had higher than 80.
Oh, that was. Oh no, yeah.
That would mean everybody else around him were just like bumbling morons drooling on themselves.
Yeah, there's no way he had an 80. I read that like 40 years ago, and I thought it was crap. All right. So it's not true. No, more like 30 years ago. Somebody wrote an article saying that he had the lowest IQ of all presidents. And I'm like, give me a break. Give me a break. All right. Next idiot.
That's all of them.
That's all the half-wits? I thought he had like 30. Chris, I want to thank you so much for keeping the receipts on these dumb motherfuckers.
Maybe he had more of those ones. I mean,
he has. He sent us a lot more than that.
Maybe we should save them and sprinkle them out across.
Oh, well, yeah, sure. We don't need to condemn every idiot at once. But I do have to say, I don't feel bad at all calling people out for saying such stupid, repulsive things. Like if Hitler, I can't even say his name, but I just did on the show. If he had kids,
we're talking about Tony Hitler, right?
Yes, and they were just small little infants when he died.
Mm-hmm.
I'd tell them to change their last name, but I wouldn't say, you know what? You're the infant of this guy. You should be executed. That's like when the Russians executed not only the Tsar, but his whole family. Like, what do the kids have to do with it? They didn't.
Yeah.
They were just born to the Tsar. They don't know anything. They're 6, 8, 12, 11, 13. He had a lot of kids. You're going to put them against the wall and shoot them too? Like, okay, I understand why they did it, because they didn't want any predecessor to be able to say, I'm the heir, the rightful heir to the throne going forward. That's still a really shitty thing to do. You could have just put them on a boat and sent them to England, because they were all related to the English and the Dutch. You could have sent them to any other country, and yeah, they would have said, hey, I'm still the rightful heir to Russia. And they would have said, well, fuck off. It's the Soviet Union now. Tough luck. But yeah, they slaughtered the whole family. You don't punish the kids for the parents. And in that case, you shouldn't even shut the Tsar, I guess. But, that's another detail altogether. U.S. men's national team versus haters. It happened again, guys. Spend all season stalking U.S. men's national team players in Europe. Don't do that. Don't do that. Hype up mid-Mexican players from non-top 5 leagues. Okay. Talk shit and say Mexico will destroy the U.S. because they're in better form. Lose the U.S. men's national team and blame the coach. Then start the cycle over. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're a Mexico fan, and I am okay, I said this last show, I got no hate for Mexico. I don't hate Mexico. They're a rival, and I want to beat them every time we play them.
Absolutely.
I got no hate. Now, I hate the motherfuckers throwing their bottles. Those guys are idiots and causing fights and picking fights in the stadium. Those guys are idiots. Mm-hmm. All right. I don't hate them, actually. I don't know. Hate's strong, but I despise them. People like that in general, not just Mexican fans who do it. But yeah, you guys got to wake up. Wake up and smell the coffee. You have a poor team. I don't even know how bad your manager is, but your team sucks. I'm sorry. It sucks. It's bad. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, I'm not even trying to offend you. I'm just telling you something you need to embrace and get real with. Otherwise, it's not going to change, and you're going to continue to allow the big club owners in Mexico who own the Liga MX teams to screw your national team because they're not really focused on the future.
There's already a number of people of Mexican fans on X showing the Mexican tour around the United States. They're playing, like whatever, like there's like 6 games that have already been announced that they're playing this year in the United States, and a number of the fans are saying we all need to boycott these matches because otherwise our federation is never going to change what they're doing, et cetera, et cetera. Unfortunately, while good intention, it's never going to happen.
No,
so
it's not. Like
nice in theory, nice idea.
That's why they move the cities around too. It's not very often if you live in, let's just say, city A, that you're going to get the Mexican national team to show up and play. And if you are a fan of the Mexican national team and they come to your city, you're going to go. If you can, get the tickets, and because it's a once in a lifetime experience, especially if it's tournament like Copa America. You know, you're going to that. Listen, we got our problems with U.S. Soccer and Gregg Berhalter. But if they had a national team game in Indianapolis, Brett and I are there. We're there. Bam. Could be.
I'm ready to go to anything within driving distance.
Nashville.
Driving distance for me, by the way, guys.
Nashville, Cincinnati. Well, I'll let you drive. I'll just be in the car. I don't want to drive. My eyes suck.
Oh, see, I hate driving, period. No, I can drive to Nashville, no problem, but
it's not that hard. It's 4 hours, 4.5, 5 hours. I just did it, and I hated it. But like you, I hate driving. I hate nothing. I hate more than driving. It's so boring. But we would have each other at least, Brett. I could show you good music the whole way there.
So I think S27 was the first person to see it. Jurgen Flop did post. You mentioned how this Mexican team is bad. It's bad, the worst it's been in years.
Yep.
And I was going to chime in and say, well, you know what else is bad? But then we kind of got off on a tangent. So I'm jumping back about 4 or 5 minutes ago when you said, oh, the Mexican national team is bad.
Yep.
Derek, you know what else is bad? Mexican fans trying
something in your fridge.
Probably. Mexican fans trying to meme after a loss. So after this was posted, of course, Jurgen Flop posted this.
Win CONCACAF Nations League. Made no changes to the team because false sense of hope from retard fans. Enter World Cup thinking you are the shit. Get knocked out in the group stage. When's the last time that happened? Is this guy a total idiot? When's the last time we got knocked out in group stages in the World Cup?
If you just get rid of the Nations League and you put Gold Cup, did he not just describe Mexico?
Yes. Who's the quote retard now? What an idiot. If you're going to try to meme back, at least get your facts mostly right. Because we don't get knocked out in the group stage half-wit. That's you. Did you see the last World Cup? That was you, not us.
I mean, it couldn't have been a worse shooting yourself in your own foot.
It could have been, yeah.
Like, I got you.
I got you. Oh, I'm a dumbass. Yeah, you are a dumbass. Exactly.
Nice.
Boy, that was a deflated balloon if I ever saw one. That's that guy that shows up at the gangbang and can't get hard.
Yeah.
Even with Viagra.
It's rough, man.
He takes the pill, he's all ready, he's all psyched up, and he's like shrinky dink stuck in it.
I saw this ad on I saw this ad on Twitter where you just eat this you eat half this chocolate, she eats half this chocolate, and it's a good time. But we polished off an entire Hershey bar, didn't do shit.
It wasn't a Hershey bar, it was rabbit poop. All right, that's the problem. Okay, what else we got? Are we gonna talk about
we can talk about
tactics?
about the chant. We can talk about the game. What do you want to go do first?
Let's talk about the chant.
We can talk about the chant.
Why not?
And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna throw in the atmosphere there. So we'll just talk about all that at the same time.
Yeah, you think you had a video live from the game, right?
Got some good stuff, yeah.
Okay, play it. Let's do it.
Well, hold on. First off, let's talk about the chant.
Alexi Lawless says, God, please, Alexi, say something I agree with again. Let it be like, what is it going to be, like 4 times in a row? We've agreed, if this is true. Let's see. I don't know what the answer is. I agree with that. But it seems like stopping the game for 5-minute punishments actually rewards the bad behavior of the crowd by giving them a power over what happens to them. All right. We need to have Alexi on the show because this is like 5 or 6 times in a row.
I know.
I've agreed with him.
I think he's coming around.
I don't know what's going wrong. I don't know if I'm becoming dumber or what's going on here. The match has been stopped due to discriminatory chanting. Yeah, stopping the game for 5 minutes does absolutely nothing.
How
nothing.
How stupid was it that they stopped it with like 4 seconds left?
Yeah, that was absurd.
They need to make a stance. And they wanted to show the fans that, hey, stop it. Stop saying this chant. So we're going to stop this game. Even though there's 4 seconds left, we're going to stop for a couple minutes.
Because I really don't see how this is ever going to change because it's just not going to. Because there's no real repercussions. There's no way they're going to punish a team with points at Gold Cup or subtract points for them in whatever international competition or ban them from Copa. It's not going to happen.
Well, they said that, like, hey, yeah, guys, don't worry about it. We got some of the people involved, and we got their names, and we're going to be removing them from the stadium. Blah blah blah. Okay, so you removed 20 people. Let's be generous and say you caught quote unquote 20 people, and you're punishing them accordingly. Okay, well, those 20 people are just going to be replaced by 20 other people.
Yeah, but it's not even 20.
It's going to continue.
It's not 20. The problem is
I'm being generous.
I know, but I'm saying in this case, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people per section. What are you going to eliminate? Just go up in the stand with like whatever 5 security guys and start removing 300 people?
That's what I'm saying. They said they got a hold of however many people. They got them. They're processing them. They're taking care of the business.
They're processing them. What?
Yeah, processing their information. I'm imagining they're probably going to be kicking them out, making sure that they can't get more tickets.
They're writing them a ticket. Is there like a $50 fine for chanting the P word?
I never said anything about them writing them a ticket.
Well, how are they processing?
I'm sitting there explaining, and you're like,
"Well, Mike, okay."
What?
When you said that, my question was like, they're detaining these people? You can't detain someone at a fucking soccer stadium.
Well, of course you can. You have security detain them all you want.
Oh yeah, so in Philadelphia you can. They have a jail.
So security goes. They escort them down. They get their license. They say, okay, Johnny V. Good, you're no longer allowed to come to any more Mexico games.
Good luck. Good luck putting that into your Excel form and tracking it every stadium they play.
Not only that. All you need to do is get a friend or a sibling or a family member to buy tickets, and then you're going to the game anyways. I mean,
and
I don't recall the U.S. game that we went to that they actually checked IDs. They just made sure you had a ticket.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then in prior games, they did nothing when this was chanted. They absolutely ignored it.
Yeah.
It's not gonna go away. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to those that are offended, but maybe, just maybe, like, let's say if the chant was not against the, because it's supposed to be, the word is a gay prostitute, right? Man. Because puto would be, I don't know if you can say that. That'd be the opposite. That'd be a prostitute woman. I would guess. I don't know. I don't know for sure. But let's say the chant was cracker, cracker. I wouldn't give a shit. I'd be like, whatever. Okay. Bunch of crackers playing for us. But then there are lots of black guys too. And
few, actually.
There's some Hispanic guys, and it's not all crackers, but if you want to call us crackers, I really don't care. I understand crackers not that offensive. I'm not trying to draw a direct parallel, but at what point do you have to just say, suck it up and say, this ain't changing? This is just not going to change. Not until there's a brand new generation somewhere. And I'm not saying to accept it, But I don't know, rewarding the fans by stopping the game every 5 minutes is the way to get rid of it. It actually just accentuates them because this is what they want. They wanted the game to be delayed. That's why they do it. So you're rewarding them with exactly what they wanted to do. Delay the game, embarrass their own team, make sure their own team knew they were disappointed. I don't know. I don't know what that. I'm with Wallace. I don't know what the solution is. I don't think there is one. I really don't.
On top of that, I mean, it's a slippery slope when you try to start punishing people. I brought up, LB had mentioned, force Mexico to play in empty stadiums. Bacata does mention that CONCACAF will never do it because it makes them 75. They make about 75% of their money off of them.
Bingo. Correct.
But I mean, the thing we brought up yesterday was even if you wanted to punish Mexico's federation or whatever, let's just say every time that chant comes up, Mexico gets fined.
Yes.
$200,000. Let's just say.
There you go. That's a real solution.
But what's to stop if it's like Mexico versus Costa Rica or Panama and then or US against Mexico to stop the opposition fans from all of a sudden starting doing it because now they have a stigma behind them that they do that chant. And all of a sudden, outside of video evidence proving that it's the American fans doing it this time,
Whereas the Panamanian fans were chanting that to get the Mexican fans in trouble.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm in the same experience here. If you could try to aim to do some kind of a punishment, but then it's a slippery slope unless you have a way of making sure,
I think you hit the nail on the head there. If there's one way to punish, you have to punish the federation with fines. If you can prove that it was all Mexican fans doing the chant by video evidence or whatever else you got, and not a bunch of Costa Rican fans dressed up as Mexican fans wanting to get the Mexican fans in trouble, which I think you can do. I think you can do that these days. But I think money hurts. Hit them in the wallet. Don't stop the game anymore. Just every time it happens, it's a
there should be a ticker on the top right-hand side of the screen. Every time it comes up, ding.
Ding, 5,000, ding, 10,000, ding, 15,000, ding, 30,000, ding, 45,000, ding, 50,000. Every time it's said, before you know, the Mexican Federation's broke. And they will have nothing. They will have nothing else to do but to focus on their efforts on reaching out to their fans and saying, please, for the love of God, stop saying the P word. Please stop saying it. You're killing us. You're killing us. We're going bankrupt. I don't know. I think that's the best way to do it because this 5-minute break thing is a joke. It's a joke. I'm glad we covered it, though.
Yeah. I mean, you always have that situation. Again, we talked about this last night as well, that people will come back at you and say, well, and Alex Martinez says it too, it's not even a bad word.
I've heard that. I've heard many Mexican Americans tell me it's not a bad word and it means not the same thing you guys all think it does.
It is a bad word.
It's just somebody who prostitutes themselves, I guess in this case to men, other men. Like, I don't know. It's not great. It's not a great word.
The equivalent of every time, I mean, I'm just asking, would it be the equivalent of, say, every time somebody goes to kick a goal kick and you drop a bundle of sticks? Is that the concept behind it?
Or you chanted, man whore.
Man whore is not, I mean, who cares about man whore?
Man whore. I don't know.
It's got to be, I mean, no, man whore is not going to piss anybody off. I mean, I feel like there has to be some more of a derogatory implication behind the word if that's it.
I mean, gay man whore. I mean, that's what they're saying. That's what it's been explained to me that they're saying in their language. And I don't really speak a lot of Spanish. That would piss off the Swiss and the Austrians. Quit boxing us. Quit making us all the Alpinian people the same. We don't all do Ricola. Anyhow, I don't know what the solution is, but maybe the solution's not to be just ignore it. Maybe the other one, just like, whatever. You're stupid. You're a bunch of dummies. Whatever. I mean, it's so cliche at this point. It's so cliche. It's not even, it's just thoughtless bullshit. I mean, you got nothing better to do to protest than that? You can't come up with anything more creative than that.
Mhm.
That's all you got. That's all you got in your bag is the P word. That's it. That's all you got. You are in some uncreative motherfuckers. That's all I got to say. You unoriginal bastards.
But
Stop saying it.
It's easy to say. Everybody can jump right in on it. I mean, it's not like a super extreme chant that you have to sit there and memorize ahead of time.
Yeah. Jeez. It's one word. God, I mean, there's got to have more to your dialect and dialogue than that. CONCACAF statement. CONCACAF condemns discriminatory chanting in the final minutes of the Nations League final between Mexico and the United States national team security staff in the stadium under defied ejected a significant number of fans, and the referee and match officials activated the FIFA protocol, which did absolutely nothing. CONCACAF in 2021 launched its What's Wrong is Wrong campaign, through which it has consistently urged fans to cease the chant with regular digital communication and significant in-stadium messaging before and during CONCACAF events. It is extremely disappointing that this matter continues to be an issue at some matches, particularly in the context of the next 2 years, presenting such a tremendous opportunity to grow the sport in our region. That whole sentence can be just X'd out. X out that. That is fluff. Quit adding fluff in official statements. Why you're so let me give you context of why I'm so disappointed. The real reason I'm disappointed is because it continues to be an issue because we've got this great thing coming up in the next 2 years, and it's a tremendous opportunity to grow the sport. And that's what's really disappointing to me. Now, what's really disappointing is this unoriginal, uncreative bullshit and it's a word that people dispute too. Yeah. It's a disputable word. I mean, I don't know. Is it or isn't it? I've been told it is. I've been told it isn't. I don't know what to believe. I don't speak Spanish. Yeah. And I'm not inside Mexican culture, so I don't know. Doesn't sound like a good word. Will we continue? We will continue to urge fans by stroking them to support their teams positively with respect and for the opposition and all participants in the game. I don't even think they were directing that at us.
No, they did when Ochoa kicked a goal.
Yeah, I think they're directing it their own team.
They were just pissed, and they just like, oh, we'll do it to everybody.
I mean,
you get a P word. You get a P word.
If I were a gay man whore, I would not be offended by that. Now, I'm not, and I haven't been for at least 20 years. So, all right, De Oliveira, 20. I believe that we will win. Should get the same treatment as. I'm not saying the word. Yeah, it's pretty bad, dude. I agree. It's unoriginal. And like, if I were Willie the troll guy, the toll booth guy, and somebody drove up, and the whole thing about Willie being the toll booth guy is you're supposed to offend him in some way when you drop your coins in. And somebody drove up, dropped their coins, and said, "You're a cunt." I'd say, "You unoriginal piece of shit," because that's not a new word I haven't heard before. If you're going to offend me, send something I haven't heard before. Like, really be creative. Calling me a cunt doesn't do it. All right? Be original if you're going to offend people. You know, if you want to offend people, I don't think that's really a thing that's necessary. But obviously our show offends some people. So there's that. All right. Let's talk about the ending part, which is tactics.
Well,
right.
One, I got the in stadium aspect, and then we'll talk about tactics.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go ahead. I forgot about that. I'm gonna let you read this because.
So Goat says I went to my first U.S. men's national team versus Mexico soccer game. U.S. won 2-0. Game ends. Mexico fans start throwing beer. Someone threw a battery. Beer can? Question mark. Who could tell for sure? Bleeding profusely. Run to first aid station. 5 staples later, I have an awesome story.
Ooh, that must have been the battery, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible that they could be a can form. I guess could have been that bad, depending on how hard it was thrown. One would imagine it'd probably be a battery.
That's got to be a battery because a can. I don't think it's doing that, unless it's a full can.
Yeah, that's just a waste of money at that point.
That's a waste of beer. Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm sorry for all the fans that had to get showered with whatever. And maybe if this continues, one other solution would be to strip search some of these people before they go in the stadium, like you're getting on a plane, because you shouldn't be able to bring batteries into a stadium. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, your camera needs batteries? Well, get a fucking cell phone, dumbass. We're not allowing.
Charge it up before the game.
Yeah. You're not bringing batteries in the stadium. You're not bringing anything that weighs over a pound, or for that matter, a quarter of a pound, and or a tenth of a pound. I guess they could throw coins. That could hurt. I mean, if you throw a quarter like your Roger Clemens, that could hurt. Yeah, it's just unfortunate stupidity. And I don't want to, and I'm not going to say this is all Mexican fans, because it certainly isn't. It's a minority of morons.
True. And on top of that, I'm going to pull up a video here. No context as far as what happened beforehand. Obviously, this is the problem with all video evidence for the most part, is that you're always just left with what happens afterwards.
Right.
So you don't know what occurred prior to that. You have to take their word for it, but you just see all of a sudden one side go, you know. But yeah, here we go.
Oh, and it's on just like that. Oh, ouch. Looks like the Mexican fans are getting their asses kicked. Yep, they're losing. Oh, here comes another and another. So they're getting reinforcements here. Yeah, the reinforcements, that's...
I almost feel like the reinforcements are sitting there trying to pull people out of the way.
Yeah, they are. Good for them.
So
yeah, that was not smart. Like, if you're frustrated that your team just lost, Brett, have you ever been so frustrated at a game that your team just lost, you're really ready to beat someone's ass? Like, I'm not waiting. No, you're not. I've never, ever thought that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out in public. I'm going to go to a game. I'm going to completely embarrass myself by getting in an actual physical brawl with another fan at the game. Like, how big of a clown do you have to be to do that? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
If you're defending yourself, that's another thing. But to get like in a verbal back and forth, and I hear it's even worse, I've been told by friends, with the Mexican-American fans who are supporters of the United States. Like, there's like some serious edginess going on there, which is too bad. I hope this all stops. We're neighbors. This shouldn't be hateful. It should be a classic rivalry, but not hate-filled. And it shouldn't include brawls. This is not 1980s England. There should not be fighting in the streets and hooliganism. It's just not necessary. After all, in the end, as much as I love soccer and football, it's not life and death.
Yeah.
Okay? It's just not life and death. It's just not. So I hope it stops.
Yeah. All right, Derek, I've got the roster. We can talk about stock up, stock down. We can talk about
stock up, stock down. Yeah.
Do that before tactics?
We'll do it all at once. Yeah, let's do it all at once. Let's bring the roster up. Stock up, stock down. And when we get to Reyna, obviously I'm going to tell you about. Listen, everybody, and I'll start it here as we bring the roster up. Let's get that. Can we do starting? Yeah, I guess we'll just do a whole roster.
Oh,
hello. You know, I heard Peat. I heard Tack. They criticized Berhalter for playing Reyna so deep. I think it was a really smart move, because I really don't think McKennie or Adams are capable of, first of all, having ball stuck to foot like glue, never losing possession. Yeah, okay. Reyna made a couple bad passes, went out of bounds. Okay. Mm-hmm. But nobody can break lines or has the vision to break through the midfield. And that's what he was there to do, to break through and make passes through the midfield to somebody else who could then take the ball and advance forward. I don't think McKennie's, that's not his bag of, no, McKennie's really good at long switch field passes. It's really good at that. Never seen him be a inside the park playmaker. And that's what we ask Reyna to do.
Well, and I'll actually back up with something Marsh said, at least at halftime, I believe, is Gio was making passes that Tyler Adams could make. He was making passes that McKinney could make because most of his passes were simple 10-yard forward passes. Some of them were obviously line breaking and stuff like that, but a lot of them were very simplistic passes. Now, I will go back on that and say, well, I don't necessarily know if Adams or McKinney could do that because some of them were struggling just as bad as the rest of the team as far as making simple passes throughout the game.
I'm not sure that's true. And also, I also think Mexico had to respect the fact that they knew they weren't taking the ball off Reyna. They weren't taking I
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't take the ball off of him. He's just too damn good. So pressing him was a useless proposition. And that's why
that actually plays into his hands if you do press him, because then he gets past you and then brings on another defender and you're just pulling guys out of position.
Exactly. And that's why they just gave him so much space and time a lot of the time. He, as you said, he walked the ball.
Yeah. And I had mentioned it, maybe it was after the game, immediately after the game or whatever, that maybe it was the idea behind it was really to help break down the the opposition in the sense that not necessarily defensive plays, but to collect it and then just completely negate that whole issue we had with the high press with Jamaica, at least. Because you had somebody that was comfortable with the ball, that wasn't going to be freaking out, that would find the easy pass out and move forward with that.
And you're not going to knock him off the ball. He's too big of a mammal. Something not a lot of people, like Craig Burley brought it up today. He's like, yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it until really recently, but he's a large guy. He's not a small dude. So I think that there are a lot of security reasons you do it as well. And let's not forget that it was a double pivot most of the time, especially in the first half. Adams and Reyna were dropping back into that pocket and asked to be responsible for bringing the ball up. But it ended up being Reyna bringing the ball up most of the time. Because it's not really, I mean, Adams says it's not going to make a through ball. But once Reyna has the ball in your Mexico, you have to respect, A, you can't get the ball off of him. And 2, he can make those through balls. So you might pull yourself out of whack a little bit trying to close up lanes you might necessarily not even think about having to close if Adams has the ball. And it does. That means you can expose other weaknesses in other parts of their defense. So I'm not saying that what Berhalter did was brilliant here. I'm not saying that. I'm just thinking it's not as bad, or it's not as big of a fault or a horrible decision as others are making it out to be. Now, we're going to be on Pete's show on Wednesday where this is going to come up. So we'll have to talk about it. And Pete will probably disagree. Adam will probably disagree. I don't know what Tack's feelings. I think he feels the same way. But I don't think it's a critical error or like you wasted Reyna. I thought Reyna played an integral part in breaking down the midfield in this game.
I wonder if the overall intent behind pushing him back a little further was so that Gio would have more of the ball throughout the match.
Yes.
Rather than hoping that McKinney or Adams makes the pass to Reyna, instead of bypassing that center and going out wide constantly. I wonder if the idea was that way we have Reyna on the ball more often.
What is that? The Regista role, right? That Pirlo played. That's what it was. You know, he got the ball. He could look up. He had time. He had space. Did he make the best of all of it? No, because McKinney just could not find an open spot for him to pass it to. I don't know what was going on there. I really don't understand what McKinney was doing all game. Like the first half, especially. I just watched him not run into open space. He didn't go into open space. Again, I don't know if that was what he was supposed to do, is like hold his position there.
I mean, both him and Gio had the same problem. And that's the sense. I don't think McKinney, I don't know if McKinney's necessarily played consistently the more advanced central role.
The 10 role.
At least with the US team.
No.
With Juventus, he's played it a couple times. He's played it enough times, but he's also that more box to box.
He's a box to box, yeah.
But there were some times back with when Ronaldo was on the team that he was playing more as the attacking mid role.
Second
but even
trigger.
then, yeah. But Gio and McKinney suffered from the same issues, that both of them, while capable of playing those roles, weren't necessarily familiar on where to be and how to move around. There were times where Gio went to go collect the ball and Ream would take another touch, and all of a sudden they're competing for the same spot. And then Gio would have to bypass and go back, and all of a sudden he's behind a center back.
Yeah, and then people were saying he's playing left back. Well, no, in Gregg's setup, the left back and right backs play so high up the field they might as well be extra wingers. Seriously.
We really do play a 2-4-4.
Yeah, seriously, because and this is not good for Jedi's game, by the way. Pushing him that far up the field all right away. It's not good because immediately, if you're pushing him that far up, he's got a right midfielder covering him. So when he gets the ball, he's already in tight space. Immediately, he's in tight space. That's not how Fulham uses him at all. He's strictly a left back who advances as buildup occurs, not pre-buildup, not when the center defensive midfielder has the ball, or in this case, when Reyna, playing the sort of regista role, has the ball. He's already like 50% up the field in Mexico's territory. That's not good for that's not good for Jedi. He's covered. Every time he got the ball in this setup, he was completely umbrellaed immediately. And then he had to play out of tight spaces. That's not his skill set. You want to get the ball up the field, and he's the kind of guy you hit on the switch field.
Yeah.
When the other team's on the other side and he's got space to run into, that's when you hit Jedi. This is something Gregg has not figured out yet. And it hampers the whole left wing attack, even though there were some good moments between Pulisic, Reyna, and Jedi. It does hamper Jedi. I don't know what Gregg's thinking there.
What happens is in this match alone, I'm just going to break down the Mexico match in a sense, but every time he got into an advanced role, his only option at that point, because you're right, he got congested over in that corner.
Yep.
Is he had to cut back and pass 10 yards back to Pulisic.
Yep.
That was his game plan. That's all he could do, because there was nothing he could do, because he's not Dest.
He's not Dest.
He's not a left-footed Dest.
He's not going to dribble through five guys. That is not Jedi. He needs
Dest
open.
Didn't do anything wrong at all last night either.
Oh, Jedi. Yeah, I mean, Dest was spectacular. I mean, one bad defensive problem the whole game, but other than that, he was genius. But Jedi, I don't know if Gregg watches Fulham games. I mean, he really needs to, because I've been watching him all season. This is not his
job.
This is not how Fulham use Jedi. I don't understand what he's looking at or what he's thinking. Let Pulisic play and be the wide threat out there and push Jedi up once Pulisic cuts more inside and there's open space out left. But don't just have, as soon as you gain possession, don't have Jedi run 30 yards up the field. It's so ridiculous. That's not how Fulham play. And I don't know what Gregg's watching or what he's focusing on, but that's not how Jedi is used effectively. And that's why Jedi looked poor. He was one of the players that did not have a good game versus Mexico, nor did he have a good game versus Jamaica. Same problem. You advance them so far up the field, there's a right midfielder just standing there next to him every time he got the ball. What's he going to do? Dribble past the guy? That's not his thing. That's not his thing. He needs open space to burn down the line on. Then he'll give you that nice pass from his left foot, hopefully, like he's been doing with Fulham all season. So 7 assists.
A Money Wilson says they could easily have had Reyna playing the attacking mid role and still had him get back or fall back to get the ball. Instead, he played deep pivot.
I agree with that. I do think that later in the game, later in the first half and beginning of the second half, he did do exactly what you said. He did drop back, and he got possession, and he played the regista role. But then once we got possession inside of Mexico territory, he did creep up a little bit more, which is why he scored the goal, right? Because he was further up the pitch. And then they just had Adams, for the most part, when we had solid possession in their end. Then it was Cardoso later on, I think it was, that, had to cover the back four, where in this case, the back two, because Destin, like you said, it's like a 2-4-4. I mean, seriously, it plays like that.
And the other issue, I mean, I would prefer Reyna in a more advanced role personally. I can as we mentioned today and yesterday, actually, I can understand Gregg's thought process as a whole. The problem with playing him in the attacking role and expecting him to fall back to collect the ball is that you start having the problem that we experienced under Gregg's normal 4-3-3 with just Adams as a single.
Yeah,
is that our eights push back to help out in the defense and collect the ball, and then you're left with this giant void in the center.
Yep.
That our 9 ends up having to fall back into, and then he's pulled out of position. And this is why Berhalter gets nothing from his 9s at all.
Exactly.
I mean, of course, Balogun and Pepe have scored goals, but for the most part, game by game, our 9 is a bystander for the most part.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Haji did a good job holding up in this game. That was required in the direct play that we were playing. That's the specific system. But as a whole, speaking of the hole, there's just this giant hole that our 9 is falling back into too far. You just get included into the game, and then he's out of position. So it's tricky. I mean, if we're going to do double pivot with an attacking mid, then we don't necessarily need Gio to fall back so far if he's the attacking mid.
But I also don't see there being necessarily an issue of asking Reyna to be Pirlo, because I'm not saying he's Pirlo, okay? But he certainly got all the intangibles and the skills to become a Pirlo-esque player. And I think that if that's the way you want to play, fine. But don't push your left back and your right back so far up the fucking field. Let them help in the buildup. Give him more options. And McKennie's got to find better space so the 9 doesn't have to tuck back like Haji did on a number of occasions, have to tuck back and be the hold-up guy, which he's good at, unlike Balogun. Balogun is not going to hold up the ball for you. So, listen, the great thing was there was a lot more space to operate in, and the Mexican midfield was totally outclassed, and we cut through them like a knife through hot butter, and because there was that space and there were those lanes. I don't know if you can play this like this against every opponent, but it certainly worked against Mexico. And I do, like you said earlier, I want Reyna to touch the ball as much as possible. And I'm not really that worried about that it being starting from deep, because he can pass a few guys. He can just dribble by a few guys. Whereas Adams ain't dribbling by a few guys. It's not happening. McKennie he's not dribbling past 2 players. That's just not happening. Reyna's the only guy who can collect the ball deep and just dribble by 2 guys like it's casually, like it's no big deal. No big deal. And I think that's a strength that if we worked on, could be effective if you weren't canceling out guys like Jedi on the left. I think that's the big fault that I saw in the game. And it's the only thing I can really criticize Gregg for, because he put out a good 11. I mean, we can't come on the show every time and spank Berhalter to the ground when he sets up right and he does something different that Mexico probably didn't even expect. I'm sure they did not expect Reyna to be playing one of the 2 pivots. I guess
ultimately your only real gripe with Berhalter in this situation is just mismanaging Jedi.
Yes.
Now, of course, that's not to say that the players out on the pitch were phenomenal. If you go to Foot Mob, you'd be absolutely surprised. You would think that we just flat out destroyed every aspect of the game. And guess who was the highest man of the match rating on our team?
First of all, fuck Foot Mob. There are a multitude of morons who contribute to the ratings. I mean, they got to be a multitude of morons.
Yeah.
But I would say the highest rated, you asked me? Turner?
No.
Who's the highest rated? Jedi?
No.
Because he shouldn't have been. I'm thinking of somebody that shouldn't have been, because surely they got it wrong. Weah?
Nope.
Reem?
No, it was Weston.
I named the whole team practically.
Yeah, I know. Let me pull it up here just so we have something to look at.
Yeah, those. I don't know who gives input for this. I realize it's multitudes of
Weston
people.
with an 8.2.
Okay. And
A little harsh on Haji, I thought.
6 out of 6.3.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's wrong.
Reyna was outplayed by Richards.
Richards did not have a great game. Reem saved his ass twice in this game.
Yeah.
Twice. He saved fucking Richards' ass. I don't know why Richards got a green, but okay.
Adams should have had the 8.2 just for the freaking goal alone. and Weston did get the assist for that goal too.
McKennie was a ghost for almost the whole first half.
Yeah.
I don't really understand it. I like how many times we call his name. I think during the game you're like, have we mentioned McKennie yet?
Yeah. How Weah outranked Pulisic is beyond me. I don't think Pulisic had a great game either, but we're talking about 6-point difference there.
Yeah. Well, as we said,
0.6.
or as I said, these ratings are made up apparently by a multitude of half-wit morons and idiots. So don't go to FootMob to get your ratings. Don't go.
Don't do it.
Go watch a podcaster you trust or a YouTuber you trust. They're going to give you a much better outlook on who played well and who did. Because who knows if half the people giving these ratings even watched the game.
I love this. Like top stats: Weston McKennie 8.2. Let's see, he played 90 minutes. He had no goals, but he did have an assist. That's good. No shot.
He gets an assist. He gets an assist for that. I know he does technically, but that's all Adams. Come on.
I guess the chances created is what perks him up there, because his passing percentage is only 74%. You come down to Gio, his passing percent wasn't phenomenal by any means, but it was definitely one of the higher ones here, 83%.
And he was the quarterback of the team.
Scored a goal.
Does that count for anything? Yeah. That he played the registry? I can't even talk. He played the quarterback position. Like he ran. Everything came through Reyna. Like he basically touched the ball more than anybody else, I would guess, if we put up a chart.
Yeah, we have to look that up. I'm not 100% positive. Yeah. Yeah, here's his attacking stats. He's the top of the rank on that one. So I don't know.
All right, let's do stock up, stock down, and stock down. So
stock up, stock down. What?
So we're almost 2 hours and 30 minutes into this.
Let's move.
Obviously, Drake and Ethan doesn't matter. Matt, if I had to give a stock up or down, I'm just giving nothing because he didn't get tested. Although he was very shaky in the Jamaica game.
Well, and we had even talked about some of the plays he made in the Mexico game where you're like, a more confident Matt would have caught that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
A cross or a quarter kick or something like that. And I'm like, he had like 4 guys in and around him. I'm fine with him punching that ball. But there was a couple times in there where it was still a little shaky.
Yeah, I think that was at the very beginning of the game. I'm like, yeah, a confident guy just catches that with both hands. He doesn't punch that out because that's hitting him right in the hands. Why is he punching it? As a confident guy would catch it, but, he's on shaky ground. So I'm not giving him a stock down. He did not give himself a stock up. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Dest, is there any doubt that his stock just went through the roof after last game?
Well, and here's the thing, though. Did his stock need to go up? It did because hell, he was. There's nothing he could have done. Everything he could do, he did.
Yep.
Like there were a number of times we were like falling out of our seat. Some of the moves he did.
Yeah, he's leaving Mexican underwear all over the pitch.
Yeah,
like just juking dudes constantly.
Yeah.
And he's been solid defensively. One error the whole game that I recognized at least. I mean, listen, Destino, I guess it should be his new name.
Yeah.
I don't think he was that shaky, man. BMR.
He had the one play right there at the end line.
Yep.
He got burned on that I can
Right.
recall off the top of my head.
I'm thinking one situation where it's like, ooh.
He did get bodied a couple times. You're right.
I guess he did. I still don't think it's that bad. I mean, it's a step up for him. Like, he used to be a defensive liability. Let's remember that. And now, okay, yeah, that he got bodied a couple times. Yes. He made that one big error we were pointing out here, but outside of that, I think it's pretty damn solid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for me, that's just stock up all around. And then his confidence dribbling through multiple players is just absolutely insane. And if he had hit that left footer into that left corner, I mean, that would have been a golazo for sure. All right, so that's that. Lund never played. McKenzie never played both games, so they're out. Tim Ream's stock's still up. I mean, he reclaimed.
I guess that's the way to word it, right? It's still up, not necessarily went up, because I mean he's the number one left center back. So
well, there were people questioning whether he was done because he's not starting for Fulham anymore, which we've covered on the show extensively since I'm a Fulham fan. And Tosin's taking his spot, and Bassey's taking his spot. Okay, yeah, he's probably not going to play a whole lot at Fulham for the rest of the season. But for us, he's still the only center back that can deliver a long distance pass on a dime.
Mm-hmm.
On a dime. Did he have some bad passes this game? Yeah, uncharacteristically he did. But I mean, I love the fact that Mexico kept trying to play long balls. His Ream's just eating up every single one of them. Like, nah, nope, header.
Tact and Pete were talking about this yesterday on their after show, in the sense that you keep hearing the people coming through like, oh, we need to break away from Ream. We need to start looking towards the future. And their thing is like, yeah, it's very, very likely possible by the time World Cup 2026. May not be even contention at that point because he's gonna be like 500 years old. But he's in contention for Copa. He's going to be our starting.
Oh yeah.
Barring injury, he's going to be our center back. So we're not just going to willy nilly just start offloading a center back to start playing for the future.
Yeah, I mean,
friendlies perhaps, but
I know there are people out there like center backs don't need to do anything but play center back and play defense and kick it to the left back or the right back or to Adams because center backs don't need to pass. Bullshit. Have you watched a modern game? The best center backs in the game are capable of making amazing field switching passes.
Yep.
And hitting guys on a dime or a nice chip over the top for one of the wings to go chase after.
That's how you spark the attack a lot of times.
And zero other center backs we have, except for John Brooks, who's banned from the team, can provide what Tim Ream provides. None of them. None.
I mean, Richard started trying it last night.
And he had a single one right.
There are a couple that were like just barely overhit, and then there's some real bad ones. But
some close ones, yes. But
he's
nobody
his way up there. He's learning. He's learning from the master, Derek.
He's young. He can maybe get there. He does need to get out there and knock some balls around on a regular basis and make that like a key point of his game if he's gonna be our key guy after 2026 or going into 2026. Because Miles can't do it. McKenzie can't do that. Trusty can't do it. CCV can't do it.
I can just imagine Richards going to Ream and say, "Hey, Ream, I really want some insight in how you lace these nice 40-yard change of play balls perfectly on the dime." He goes, "Well, I get the ball, I look up and I see Weah, and I just kick it to him."
It's a freaking skill.
Is that it?
I'm not calling Ream David Beckham, but David Beckham was another guy. And during the season, McKennie has been that guy for Juventus on multiple occasions, just hitting dimes, absolute dimes. And now he's not a center back, but you need one of your two center backs to be a potential threat. So the team's got to stay on their toes. The opponent's got to stay on their toes because they know you leave out the right wingers absolutely being ignored. because Tim Ream's got the ball on the left side of the field and at midfield, and Tim Ream can hit that guy on a dime, then you gotta move your left back to cover that right back. And that opens up the middle of the field. That's the point. You got to pay attention to everybody because Ream can hit anybody at any point. And that opens up the field, the center of the field. So, okay, yeah, I guess the other guys that we got can just tap it to Adams, or in this case, Reyna, all night long. Fine. But they're not threats. They're not guys that are going to hit guys on a dime down the wing or out wide. It's just not. None of them can do it on a consistent basis like Ream can. Total BS. Center backs are supposed to be able to pass out trouble instead of cleaning it out of the bounce and booting it downfield. That's not what we're talking about, Colin. No one's talking about booting it. We're talking about Ream playing precise passes to open players out wide, switching fields. You don't need to be able to pass like Varane to play center back. No, you don't. It's just a bonus. It's a bonus that none of our other center backs can provide. That's the point. And that's the point you keep missing. But you go ahead and you keep telling us that they don't really need to be good at that. I'm just telling you, he specifically is good at that. And it's a weapon we don't have in any other center backs, except for Brooks, who's never going to be called up. End of point. Done.
Yeah. I mean, the big difference is what Ream does isn't necessarily what the rest of the center backs do when they do loft the ball or loof the ball up there.
Loofed. Yeah. It's just different. It's a skill set we're just not going to be able to replace. Unfortunately. Tim Ream's just really good at that. Do I think that Chris could get better at it? Yeah, I think all of our guys could. There's some guys I don't think are going to get much better at it because they're already old.
Well,
I don't think Miles Robinson's going to learn to do that anytime soon.
Yeah. On top of that, the other point is that it's not like you're requiring Ream to do nothing but lace these 40-yard change of play balls. The option's not always going to be there.
No.
So you still will be playing it out wide or sometimes playing it through the middle. As a couple of our
absolutely. Yep.
But the option, the ability to have that option where you could just lace that 40-yard change of play to Weah and he's off to the races. And he's doing a low cross. You get that once in a blue moon. I mean, remember Zimmerman had the one that long ball to Pulisic, and Pulisic brought it down and scored a goal. It was a beautiful long ball to him. But we haven't seen it since.
I hate to say this, but at least Zimmerman has done it on occasion. I'm not a huge fan of Zimmerman, as we all know. But I haven't seen McKenzie. I've watched plenty of Genk this season. Don't see it from him. Don't see it from Trusty. Don't see it from CCV. Scotland, although he plays rather safe there. They have a lot of possession at Celtic, obviously, for obvious reasons. So, he does not need to do that. I mean, CCV is not bad at playing an occasional through ball, into the second line. But it's a bonus we're going to lose once Tim Ream leaves, once he ages out. It's unfortunate because Brooks is only, 26? And he's another guy that can do that. And once that option goes, and you saw it in the Jamaica game, and I called it out during the Jamaica game, not a single long switching fields pass by a center back to open guys that were open the whole fucking game. Because no one wants to risk it because they're not capable, period.
Mm-hmm.
You read it.
Colin does follow up with saying you don't want to disqualify your good center backs or technical just because they don't play lots of long line splitting passes.
Nobody's saying that it disqualifies them. What is the point I am making here? I'm making a point that Ream brings something special. His ability to do that is something that we're going to lose. Okay? It's just a fact. And nobody else can replace that. And it is always nice. And it's one of the reasons Berhalter said that Ream was brought in the team for the World Cup. He can do things other people can't. Of course, is a veteran. He plays in the Premier League. He's soccer IQ is off the charts. But yes, all World Cup. Go back and watch the games. Every center back that played next to Tim Ream during the World Cup pass the ball to Tim Ream, who brought the ball up the field to make the pass. And sometimes, yes, it was just to a center midfielder. But a lot of times, it was to people who were wide open out wide, or it was breaking lines passes. We're going to miss that. That's a super skill we're going to miss. And nobody else can do it. Sorry. Yeah.
He finishes it off with saying it's a tall order for center backs to be fast, technical ball winners, Pirlo-esque passes.
I agree. It is a tall order. That's why we should be very thankful that we've got maybe 1 or 2 more years with Tim Ream left at best. And the problem is the only other guy that can do the same kind of, because he does it all the time for his club team at Hoffenheim, is John Brooks. But John Brooks is banned from the team. So we're back to just having what I would consider to be stable center backs with no special skill. There you go.
Yeah.
That's all.
Do you remember in the, I think it was right around halftime, they posted an image showing the attacking player or the players on the U.S. men's national team who has the fewest amount of touches. And it was like Pulisic, Weah, and Haji had like less than Turner did.
Right. I
like,
know.
That's not a great sign.
No, it's not. And again, that is a problem with pushing Jedi so far up the pitch that, again, if he is going to make a pass to Pulisic, it's going to be under duress. And I don't know why we're doing that. I mean, I can understand doing it with Des because Des is great in tight spaces, but that's not Jedi. Jedi's not great in tight spaces. That's not his game. You have to create space for Jedi. You can't ask him to play tiki-taka over there, which is why I'm not too thrilled with him going to Liverpool, frankly, and I hope he doesn't because I'm a Fulham fan, and I want him to stay at Fulham. All right, stock up, suck down. Miles Robinson didn't hurt himself at all. He played better than Richards did in Jamaica versus Jamaica.
Yeah, they both had their moments, but yeah, I don't know. They're both shaky, I think. And they both had good moments. They both had bad moments.
I would give them.
The big difference is that Richards played both games.
Yeah,
we saw more.
I guess I would give him a thumbs down for the Jamaica game, but at the same time, it's like they didn't really hurt their stock because who's really barking up their butts? McKenzie, who got no minutes, Trusty,
CCV.
who Greg doesn't seem to value, and CCV, EPB, who hasn't played a single game hardly for his Greek team all season because of injury.
Speedy recovery.
Matt Miazga, who kicked Berhalter's dog, allegedly. Yeah, I think that those guys are safe. Richards and Miles are probably safe going forward, but not a stock up. Anthony Robinson, I'm not blaming him. I'm not giving him a stock down either. I mean, I've been watching Fulham all season. He's been fan-freaking-tastic. 7 assists.
Mm-hmm.
He plays for us. He's cornered as soon as he gets the ball because of the way we're set up and the way we decide to play him so far up the field. That's not his fault. He shouldn't be playing left winger. He should be playing left back.
Definitely. My take is Jedi stock took a hit, in my opinion. And I understand the system set him up for failure. However, there were still plenty of ample opportunities of him being able to make complete a pass. I don't know. There are a number of things you watch and sit there and like, well, he's having a bad game. Now, of course, some of that bad game could just be being played in a style that he's not used to. Sure.
I've been watching him play at Fulham all season. He is extremely competent.
Yeah.
How does he look so incompetent in this setup? I'm blaming Greg. I'm sorry.
So we can say about everybody then, because I mean, Pulisic didn't have the greatest of windows. Neither did Weah. Neither did McKinney. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And Greg mentioned how it wasn't a focus issue. They were really focused and determined at the beginning of the window.
He did say that.
So, yeah.
So Casey Keller, suck it. Wasn't focused, buddy. Casey Keller thinks it's all about focus. That's why we played bad against Trinidad, Tobago, and Jamaica. Just not focused. Not enough energy. Okay, you keep barking up that tree, but you're not going to find any squirrels. Joe Scally.
Go ahead. With Robinson, in the sense that it was a bad performance, not a great performance by Jedi. I'm saying stock down. But the thing is that he's so, again, just like Des, he's so far ahead against this competition that it won't make a difference. Because the bad games that he has for us are few and far between, quite frankly. So
sorry, Greg gets my stock down though for Jedi's failure. Joe Scally, stock down.
Yeah, that took a massive hit.
Yeah.
But fortunately for him, who's this competition?
Yeah, exactly. He's fine. Tyler Adams, stock up.
Yeah, I mean, it's stock up as far as playing well. Absolutely, 100%.
Scoring.
Again, just trying to figure out again, sort of like how like the Jedi and the Dest, where he's at in the starting lineup, because that's gonna be the big question, right? Because you have Musa, McKinney, and Adams all vying for a spot.
Okay, Musa, McKinney, Adams, Cardoso, Reyna, Tillman. Six guys. The guy's stock that went down, even though it's not his fault, is Luca De La Torre's.
Quite frankly, Adams is not competing for a Reyna or Tillman spot. So,
okay, that's fine. Depending on how Greg wants to play.
True, that's true. I guess he could play Gio back at the double pivot again.
Yeah, good. So now it's just he's going to play three midfielders. Who are they? And what role they're going to play seems to be interchangeable to Greg. So if you're looking at it like that, if Reyna's capable of playing in a double pivot with Adams, now the guy whose stock dropped the worst, no fault of his own, was Luca De La Torre, because he couldn't show up because he's injured, because Cardoso's stock didn't really drop. Cardoso was fine after the first, I don't know, first 10 minutes were ugly. But then he settled in and he looked fine.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about the midfielders as a whole, I guess, in that sense. I don't think Musa made a lasting impression for me.
Stock down.
I think McKinney had a very mediocre window for the most part. Stock down. So, I mean, but the problem is, again, if you're looking at, if everybody's stock was equal, as far as like they're all playing at the top of their game, I mean, I feel like McKinney's guaranteed over Luca De La Torre.
Oh, yeah.
So even though he's stocked down, he's still above Luca De La Torre.
I mean, Musa and McKinney, their stock could have dropped dramatically, and they're still not below De La Torre, whose stock dropped just for not being there. No fault of his own.
Mm-hmm.
But the guys that did show up and were healthy and played all look competent. Maybe ineffective for some of them. Certainly Yunus Musa did not shine. Or Yusuf Musa, Jesse. But, it wasn't not going to drop. And then there's the Ramadan thing, and people are like making like, well, he's maybe not 100% because of Ramadan, and he hasn't had anything to eat for a couple days or whatever it was. Okay. But, their stock is never going to drop so far with Greg that they're not auto call-ups. McKinney and Musa are auto call-ups for Greg. Johnny just took De La Torre's spot permanently, unless something magical happens. Like De La Torre finishes the rest of the season in La Liga with like 5 goals and 5 assists.
I need to see. Obviously, Johnny going to La Liga and playing well. I need to see him more with the national team. Quite frankly, I need to see him get a start in the upcoming windows before Copa. I'm still, as you mentioned, Luca De La Torre's stock went down simply because he couldn't be here.
Yeah, I guess the difference when I watch Luca De La Torre play at Celta, he's a very nifty player. He's quite dainty and small. And then I watch Cardoso play center midfield and holding midfield quite often for Batiste. The difference is like just physically.
Sure.
Cardoso is an imposing character. He is he's nothing. He can be nifty, even though he's a larger mammal than Luca De La Torre. And I just think with the jam-packed midfield that we've got going on right now, and the fact that we are definitely going to play at least one attacking midfielder, and Greg seems to be kind of settled into playing a double pivot, it just doesn't leave a lot of extra room for De La Torre to creep into at this point. And that's too bad for him. He's really being sacrificed, not because he's not good enough. It's just that other guys are already providing what he can provide. So I feel bad for him. But, I mean, what are you going to do? He, like I said, the only thing he could do was absolutely rock the tits out of the last remaining 8 or 9 games in the in La Liga.
Well, that might not even be enough, quite frankly, because you have somebody we didn't mention as far as this is concerned is somebody like Maloney, who is absolutely vital for his team at Heidenheim. We've seen it since he's been injured.
Yeah,
Heidenheim has plateaued and took a bit of a dip, and one game I think they caught back up, but he's so far behind at this point that there's almost no catching up, minus injuries. If he balled out for the remainder of the season in Bundesliga, for that matter.
The way Gregg plays, Maloney's behind Luca De La Torre.
Yeah.
So the only way he makes the team is he becomes a center back for Heidenheim.
That's well, I don't even care if he plays center back for Heidenheim. He's played center back his entire life, and I'm fully confident that he knows how to play the position.
I'm not worried about that, Brett. As I've said many times on the show, I'm worried about is the fact that he would be dropping into center back for us, and then he's got to build some chemistry with Richards or Ream.
Regardless, if he drops into the midfield, he's got to develop chemistry with Reyna, Gio, Musa, McKinney, and all of them still. So the new players have to do that regardless.
No, he's got no chance at playing midfield for us at this point.
My point being is that regardless of where the new player falls in, they've got to create chemistry with the people around them. Similar to if he falls into the center back option, yes, he's got to create chemistry with Ream or with Richards. But that's with every new player has to do that.
It might be easier for him to build chemistry with Ream or Richards than it would be to be dropped in our midfield the way it currently functions.
I agree.
So I'm just saying, I think his better, like the only chance he's got of making this team going forward is to start playing some center back in the Bundesliga. I mean, he's not going to because he's such a vital.
If I was him, I would appeal to Gregg and say, hey, I know the midfield's very competitive. I can also play center back. I literally played in my entire youth all the way up until like a year ago.
Well, it's something that Gregg needs to consider because honestly, he's definitely playing at a higher level than McKenzie is in the Bundesliga. And as far as overall play, I mean, he's a glorified extra center back for Heidenheim. Let's be really frank, as you pointed out. Because he's like 5 feet ahead of the 2 center backs most of the game, 5 yards. He is a glorified extra center back for Heidenheim. And as far as performance in the top 5 league, he's performed better than Trusty has for his team that was supposed to be was obvious relegation fodder in the Bundesliga this season. They're sitting somewhere around the mid-table. And they've outperformed. And since he's gone, Heidenheim is losing. They're sucking. So they need him back as soon as possible. So there's that argument you could start thinking about if you are Gregg. Maybe this guy should come into camp and we should test him out at center back. Give him a test. He seems to be a better passer. Even though passing's not his thing, he's not going to dribble past anybody, 5 or 6 guys or anything like that, but he's competent playing defense. He's very competent. He knows how he's got a high soccer IQ. He knows how to cut down lanes and stop balls between lines. So,
and
all right.
I don't know if you mentioned this already, but he's fast as fuck too.
I don't know if he's fast as fuck, but he moves. He gets where he needs to go.
He's pretty pacey for a guy's size. We'll put it that way. If we're center back, he'd be one of the pacier ones.
Yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm just not really bought into McKenzie, and I'm fine with CCV, but I do worry about the fact that CCV is 5'11". That worries me, and that he's still playing in Scotland. That worries me.
That's my bigger concern right there. Is
he
throughout the entire season, if you take Champions League out of the equation, he's got like less than a handful of really good quality games.
And I got nothing against Trusty. He's had some good games for Sheffield this season, but let's face it, they're basically a championship team playing in the Premier League. They're getting slaughtered. So not every game, but a lot of games they're getting slaughtered. So it's a concern there too. Gio Reyna, I mean, stock up?
We'll stock up, yeah.
Brendan Aronson,
I
nothing.
I think we can almost put to bed contention as far as who's starting at that point, right? Because obviously going into this window, we're sitting there going like, well, we would start Reyna, but we'd understand if Tillman started over him. But I don't know. I think Gio's that is just that vital to play in our midfield.
And I hate to say this. No, I don't. But if you're on X and you still think Reyna's shit, you're just an idiot. You're just
you're not paying attention, or you're biased.
You're just a stupid, stubborn fuck. And I don't care if that's bullying.
Yeah. What it is, these people are who still hate Gio are coaches at a club level, just basic club level, that have to deal with helicopter parents all the time, and their bias got the better of them, quite frankly.
I hope that's it, Brett. I hope that's it. Their bias. I mean, do you walk through your life with all these biases, Brett? I don't. I walk through life and I go, I'm going to look at everything in context. Let me get all the context before I say so-and-so is an idiot. Like, it doesn't take much context if you're saying that Reyna should be banned from the national team because of what his parents did. Like that, I don't need any context. That's enough context already for me to call you one of the biggest morons I've ever met. But before you make a judgment about a player that needs to be banned for what his parents did, which is super weird, shouldn't you get the context before you post something on X that's just so stupid? I don't know. I don't know, but people do it all the time, apparently. I'm hoping they're bots, but they're not. They're real people. They're just dumb real people. Brendan Aronson, no, I didn't move the meter either way. Florin Balogun, stock down. Sorry.
Yeah. No, we're definitely
stock down. Like, and it's not all his fault. The things that we asked Haji to do, he can do. He can hold up the ball because he's a big mammal, a large mammal. He can drop passes off. He can go up for headers. He's good in the box. None of those things are what Balogun's good between lines and running behind the back line and running through lanes. He's a speedster, and we don't know Gregg doesn't know what to do with a player like that. He has no clue how to set up a system where that works. It's not all Balogun's fault, although he's having a rough club season too, for the same reasons, actually. Current manager doesn't play that way either.
Yeah, and to all of what you to encompass all of what you just said, what's hurting him is that he's trying to play some of those roles, the back to goal, and the ball's coming in. It's not most of the time it's not a perfect trap, and then he's lunging to go back and get it. He's not completing passes with his back to the goal. Again, it's not the style. It's not the style that he excels at.
Right.
And it's possible that, I don't know if this is even an idea by any means, but it's possible that under Berhalter that he actually might be a better fit out wide. Than in the middle. Right.
So, let's say
I hate to keep throwing that type of thing out there, pushing people in positions that they don't actually play, but
I mean, but if Weah pulls the left testicle, why not? Why not try him out right? You know,
I mean that way he's not required to play. He's not required to play this back to the goal, and he has the ability to make the slotting runs through.
Yep,
the balls come in. I think that benefit him most in this system. And I'm not saying that's where he should play. I think in the system that might benefit him.
Yeah, we're talking about Gregg's system. We're having to be realistic because that's Gregg's system requires you to play with your back to goal quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fact. That's how the nines work with Gregg's system. They don't get to play a lot of through balls they can run onto. Gregg doesn't know how to set up a system to make that happen. Reyna, we were hoping would be the solution, and actually Reyna under BJ did actually get a great through ball to Balogun that he finished in the last Nations League. So with Reyna playing a more advanced role. So there are ways to do it, ways to fix it. I'm not sure that's a real priority. And even Gregg's admitted his frustration with trying to figure out how to fit Balogun into his system. So it's not just us saying it. It's Gregg saying it. It's Balogun saying it. Balogun said it to Gregg coming off the field frustrated. So it's not just us. Tillman, stock. I mean, down. He didn't really I mean, I guess you could say nothing, but I mean, Reyna's far and away proved he was the better
So,
CAM.
I will say, when having watched the Jamaica game, most of us, and me included, and you included, I think, quite frankly, were probably a little too hard on Tillman.
Probably
because we had all the nerves, right? All the nerves exposed watching that match. Go, Jesus, just put one of these away. Oh God,
it was horrible.
Time's ticking. Now there's an errant pass.
Yep.
But having gone back and watched just the Tillman highlights, and you watch him do his plays and stuff,
it's not bad.
It's not bad.
No.
And a lot of people are like, yeah, I went back and rewatched the game, and it's actually a lot better performance when you don't have all those nerves.
That's not why I said stock down.
No. I'm just saying that for the most part, I think a lot of people were harsh on Tillman because then Reyna came in, and all of a sudden it was the Reyna show,
The reason I say stock down is because he took Reyna's job in the first game.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then Reyna came in and blew the fucking doors off the place, and basically stated and stamped his claim that he's the best guy. If you want to control the pace of the game and you want to make major decisions that lead to goals, or control the pace of the game and control the field, like Reyna's the dude. It ain't Tillman yet.
So I think for most people, I think it's Tillman stock equal because they always rated Gio above.
Most of us still do, and most of us did. There are a collection of other mammals on X who think Tillman is far and above and better than Reyna and don't rate Reyna at all.
Sure.
And we know who, how that all worked out for them.
Yep.
So,
and we've said it a number of times already on this show and many other shows that we would have started Reyna, but we understood why.
Yep.
But I think Reyna came in and showed why.
He was awarded the best player of the tournament award.
Yeah.
Not just us at this point. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to take my word for it. The whole committee of people agree to that. And yeah, you don't have to believe them either because they're usually idiots. But yeah. Pulisic, I don't know.
We already covered Pepe there?
Pepe didn't play.
Yeah, I mean, his stock, I felt like quite frankly, his stock is lateral as well at this point. He's in the same position. And it was weird to see Haji get the call in over to do that role, which I thought he did a fine job.
Sure. Yeah.
Being the body that took all the beatings and playing with his back to the goal and everything like that, and doing the Gregg Berhalter 9, right?
Right.
I would have imagined that would have been Pepe's opportunity, but
well,
I guess when you have 2 goals in the game beforehand.
Yep.
Kind of have to give him the go ahead,
I think you're right, and I think kind of like Luca De La Torre, through no fault of his own, Pepe's stock went down, just because he didn't get to play, and because Haji stock is so far up now after one game where he scored 2 goals, great passes by Reyna, and then starts the next game and does a relatively professional job. And then, Pepe did come in, right? In Jamaica game.
Yeah.
And then he missed that, not a sitter, it was tough, but didn't really have the same effect playing as the tandem 2 center forwards that Haji had. And so for that reason, I'd say stock down.
Quick question on that front, though. We saw Haji play out wide. We saw Haji play as the 9.
Well, he played double center forward in the Jamaica game with Pepe because Aronson went out left. So we actually moved to your favorite setup, 4-4-2.
That's fair. I mean, that came later.
It did come later, but yes.
Regardless, I guess in that sense is that we saw him out wide. We saw him up top. Moving forward, what would be your ideal spot for Haji? I mean, of course, if he goes out wide, he's not starting. But if he goes up top, I guess he could, depending on the match.
The only way Haji starts is if Weah gets an injury or falls totally out of favor with Gregg, and then you start Pulisic on the right, where he plays for AC Milan, and you start Hadji on the left, because I really don't think Hadji's claimed the number one spot at center forward yet. I still think Gregg's going to give him Balogun more chances.
Sure.
I think when Sargent comes back, he might get a shot too. Sargent, also a guy whose not stock went down, but certainly took a hit with Hadji's performance in this championship.
We still have Brendan Aronson as contention there.
That's true. That's true, because Sargent can play out wide as well.
Brendan didn't do shit to improve his stock. So, I mean, not saying that Brendan played poorly or anything like that. I'm just saying he didn't do anything to really improve it.
Yeah, I think Brendan knows at this point, unless he continues to do something really special for Union Berlin, like he did the last game for Union Berlin, special performance, awesome performance, the kind of performance all of us wanted Brendan Aronson to continually do.
Dark Brendan.
So, yeah, Dark Brendan. We need more Dark Brendan. Yeah, so it's getting even more confusing at center forward because Balogun's just not working out in Gregg's system. No fault of Balogun's, in my opinion.
I hate the fact that we have to keep adding that little caveat to it, right?
But we do, because otherwise people are going to be like, oh, you fucking moron.
That's the best striker in the world that we have.
Balogun's way more talented. It doesn't matter if he's way quicker, way faster, a better shooter. Any of those things none of them matter. Because in Gregg's system, the center forward is going to be required to go get long passes, headers, play in the box, and play with their back to goal. It's just no way around it. That's just how we play. And Balogun clearly showed he cannot do that versus Jamaica. How many balls did he lose playing with his back to goal?
Yeah.
How many bad first touches did he have? A lot. How many headers did he just not even bother to go up and get? Just like, well, that's over my head. I'm not even jumping for that. I mean, somebody pointed out.
You got Hadji and Balogun tandem could work, because you'd have your target man.
I don't think Gregg's ever switching to a 4-4-2 unless out of desperation, like he did versus Jamaica.
Yeah,
so
very, very true. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. All right.
Pulisic stock. I don't know if you covered that yet or not. But
yeah,
it's leveled.
Yeah.
No up, no down.
Exactly. Tim Weah, same thing. Didn't go up, didn't go down. Thought he was fine. People were shitting on Weah. I don't know what he did so bad. I thought he was fine.
He wasn't his typical Weah. I mean, typical Weah produces a lot of really dangerous opportunities, and I thought he was kind of, to an extent, muffled a bit.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean,
not nearly as Weah as we expect, but still, you're right. Stock didn't go up, stock didn't go down.
Had that one good rocket ball that was low that Ochoa had to save.
I mean, that was a really nice shot.
Yep. I mean, I would have hurt his hands, I would think. Hadji, stock up. I mean, there's no way around it.
Come on, son.
I mean, Hadji took the bull by the horns, and
his stock must have taken the highest hike of all players, right? Because he wasn't even included in this roster,
right?
And now we're sitting here having the debate, like, well, is he a starting 9 possibly, or whatever? But absolutely,
people criticize Gregg because he's like, oh, he wasn't even called up to the team. He replaced Sargent. Well, who's to say Sargent wouldn't have done the same exact things that Hadji? We don't know. We don't live in a Wayback Machine where we can reverse time and make Sargent healthy enough to be the guy that came instead of Hadji.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Sargent does something spectacular too when he gets called in, versus Jamaica. We don't know, and we'll never know. And that's just how the universe works, folks. It's not a Disney world that we live in. I wouldn't, but for Sargent, it's a bit of a body blow because he didn't get there, and half the battle's showing up, right? That is half the battle. Being available is half the battle. Hadji's available. He goes out there. He gets 2 great goals and plays more than sufficiently professionally against Mexico. Does his job. That hurts Sargent. And it's no fault of Sargent, just like it's no fault of Luca De La Torre's. just like it's no fault of Pepe's, really. I mean, Pepe did get to play, so maybe you can give him a little responsibility there. But, you know, guys that aren't playing much, other guys just stepped up. They stepped up, and that's going to earn them bonus points with Gregg.
Colin wants to know why would we play Haji out on the wing when he scores goals like he did?
Yeah, I don't think you need to.
I mean, yeah. I mean, as we're seeing with his club, and kind of with what we did against Jamaica, although I guess we did kind of pivot there, is he can score regardless of where he's at up top.
Yep.
I will say he does follow up by saying someone smart would play Weah and Haji as dual strikers. Sure. I think Weah, when we brought up the Haji and Balogun one, I think Weah would fill the role that Balogun fills as well.
I don't think you're going to get any, pushback from us here on playing two up top.
Two striker, that's crazy.
I mean, we would love that, but I don't think it's going to happen, Colin, unless something drastic needs to be, like we saw versus Jamaica late in the game. Mm-hmm. That's when Gregg switched to the 4-4-2. And I just don't think that's not in Gregg's DNA to play a 4-4-2. And by the way, it's not really in many coaches' DNA anymore. Like the 4-4-2 has been shit on to a point where almost no coaches use a 4-4-2. Like it's like if you play a 4-4-2, you're considered kind of like a lazy coach with no ideas anymore, which is completely ridiculous. This is completely ridiculous. But that's where we're at. That's how things have evolved, unfortunately. All right.
Scorpion Larry for $2 says, Jam, my favorite game ever till the last 10 seconds. Oh, Jamaica.
Oh, you must be.
Scorpion Larry was rooting for the Jamaicans.
Oh, is Larry one of those guys that wants us to lose so Gregg loses his job?
No, he's been very vocal as far as being a big Jamaican fan. He's also a USA fan too, but he definitely was rooting for Jamaica for a number of years here. Probably obviously more than that, but we've only recently. When I say recently, I mean the last couple of years.
Is Larry Jamaican?
Larry, not that I know of. But I don't
Larry,
know.
You Jamaican? I mean, I love Jamaican.
I think he may just like what Jamaica brings to the table, I guess.
I love Jamaican cuisine. I love Jamaican food. I love Jamaican jerk, but I'm not rooting for Jamaica over the United States, even though I love their food. I'm not doing that. Not a big is a fan, by the way, of the what's that thing? The goat. It's not the testicles.
Cheese.
No. Goat cheese isn't bad. There's a specific dish they use a ingredient where I'm like, I ain't eating anything with balls. Not eating testicles, period. I don't care what animal it is. I'm not eating Colorado Rocky Mountain oysters, whatever they're called. I'm not eating testicles.
Derek, you like to jerk your chicken?
I love a little jerk in my chicken. All right, I save a little every night just for my chicken. I made some badass, by the way, KFC copy chicken last night. That was so awesome. I love chicken, by the way. It's my favorite food. I love fried chicken. I loved
who doesn't like fried chicken?
Fried chicken, so good. And then, by the way, the specific people should know this. If you're going to make fried chicken, go half and half flour and cornstarch. Add all the other spices that you want, like Tony Chachere's. You can add that. You can add some Slap Your Mama, some garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, whatever you got to add in there.
Yeah, 3 containers of Slap Your Mama in my house.
Slap Your Mama, some good stuff. I mean, it's really, if you look at the ingredients, like 2 ingredients. It's just like hot shits in here. Spicy shits in this can.
The problem is people keep giving it to me as presents for like whatever, and I'm the only one that's going to use it. So
really?
Like I've got to make it for myself, you know.
EB doesn't like spicy.
Her palate for spice has been decreasing. Oddly enough, her palate was much higher than mine when we first started dating, but now way surpassed.
Yeah, I'm like off the charts. Like for me, I go to my parents. I made them my baked fried chicken, and I used Slap Your Mama on it, and they're like, this is so hot. Like they were just overindulging in ranch just to get through it. And I'm like, this is nothing. This is like, I'm just eating it, no ranch. Yeah, my spice level is way up there. And so is my brother's. So we come over for holidays, whatever, we make the food, and my parents are always sweating and shit. They got to have little napkins to wipe their brows. And my brother and I are like, what is the deal? This is not hot. This is just efficiently spicy. Yeah, Slap Your Mama, some good stuff, but make sure you use the cornstarch with the flour. Make sure you put the chicken in buttermilk if you can. You can make buttermilk with milk and vinegar. You mix the two together. That creates buttermilk. If you want to do that, make it sure the chicken sits in the buttermilk. And then, of course, when you put it in the flour, make sure the flour is seasoned with Slap Your Mama or Tony Chachere's or whatever you think is good. All right, I think we're done, Brett. Oh,
Gamar wants to know if Slap Your Mama is an East Coast thing. I don't know if it's an East Coast thing. I know it's a Michigan thing. That's where I found it, at least.
No, you can find it in Indiana. You can find it at Myers.
Yeah, I'm sure it's went down and all, but
Myers, Kroger.
Branched out. I was gonna say, if you're gonna mention Myers a Michigan franchise. So
I think I bought mine at Walmart.
Yeah,
Slap Your Mama's all over. It's good stuff, but keep in mind it is spicy. Like you look at the ingredients, it's like salt and hot shit in here. Cayenne pepper. Spencer Dirty for $1.99. $1.99. I know he's
usually 30 cents, I guess.
It's $69. Where'd it go, Spencer? I'm getting McDonald's right now. He says, all right. There's a fire.
It's 11:30. Imagine following some booze.
I guess so. I was gonna do some remember Scotty? There's a fire in the engine room. Kirk, there's a fire in the engine room. I'm not a doctor. No, that's the doctor.
That's Bones.
That's Bones.
I'm not a physics. I'm not a physician. I'm a doctor.
Just a goddamn doctor.
That's IT help.
What was Kirk's first name?
James.
Yeah, he never call him Captain Kirk. He's like, God damn it.
He calls him Jim.
God damn it, Jim. I'm just a doctor. That was everything he said. There's a fire in the engine room.
Mm-hmm.
Captain, there's a fire in the engine room. Every show. We're low on power, Kirk. We're low on power, Captain. Every show. Every freaking show. All right. I love that show, though. Scorpion Lair for $2. Hector and Damian Lowe got the draw. Yeah, they did. I guess. I don't know. I know Jamaica finished third. They beat in Panama? the third place game. They beat Panama. So congrats to them for that, especially playing 6 men under, like 6 guys missing. And I really don't know if we're ever gonna see Mr. Aston Villa Bailey play for Jamaica again. Apparently, he seems to be blackballed. And then he came out, had that interview I watched, and he's just, I could barely understand half of what he said. But yeah, he's really critical of the FA in Jamaica for good reasons. It sounds like to me, good reasons. Like he can't remember the last time he got paid to play for Jamaica. Yeah, well, that's a problem. He has to play he has to get coached to get to the games or whatever. So, all right, I think we're done here, right, Brett?
We're only 3 hours, 18 minutes in. I think we can go another 2.
We can go to the what?
I think we can go another 2.
2 minutes?
Hours.
All right, this isn't one of your comic shows. We're not doing that. All right, I just want to thank everybody that stayed with us through this This is just ridiculous. I don't know why we did 3 hours. I didn't think we had 3 hours.
Yeah.
I thought we had 2 at best, maybe an hour and 45. But, I'm a mouthy mother who won't shut up. So I guess I drew this out, and I apologize for that. But thank you for all of you. Make sure you like, subscribe. If you haven't noticed, subscribers are going up. We're hoping to reach like 3,500 by the end of the year. That would be really cool. Maybe 4,000. Should we shoot for 4,000? I don't know.
By the end of the year? Yeah, we can do 4,000 by the end of the year.
Let's do 4,000. Make sure. Yeah, share it with your cousins. Share it with your girlfriend. Share it with your friends. Share it with your stepsister. Whoever you got to share it with. You can share more than that with your stepsister, by the way. Completely legal. And until the next time on the Straight Red Card, we'll see you on Thursday.
That hurt.
Then what is this thing?
Gio should never play for U.S. men's national team again because of the action of his parents.
What an idiot! Oh!
What type of Muppet does this?
Muppets. Absolute Muppets.
I'm not